drive safely, of course. Make sure that, you know, if you're driving it, you're doing it safely, of course, with, what's the thing? The hands-free whatevers. So, so one of the things you know what? I'm gonna noodle around with something real quick first. Wait, 1 minute of video. Oh, okay. That being said, the runtime of the album is a little bit over 39 minutes. A vinyl LP. Okay, so I'm gonna. Oh, whoa. No, wrong. Okay, shit. Okay, so in a bit, I'm gonna fart around with some. So there's this new thing, or at least it's new as far as I've noticed. The last time I streamed, which was about a week and a half ago, with my I even took the night off from like, I didn't forget that it was Tuesday or whatever. This last Tuesday, I intentionally took that night off because as I said in my ill-fated live stream puzzle thing that I tried the previous Sunday, my sister had died, and so obviously, like, station manager, he's cool. Like, I mean, I say to people that he's got the well-earned nickname of Whiskey, therefore, ergo, his DJ name Whiskey, DJ Whiskey. It's very, very well-earned nickname. Yeah, it's a very well-earned nickname, but, you know, he's a cool guy. Why am I putting this on? I don't need this for this, but I do need to squiddle this out from under here. Oh my gosh, my so real quick, let me fart around with this here. So I've seen this new setting, like, hey, real quick, I'm gonna try this save highlight thing. Highlight saved. Wait, what? Goddamn. Hi. Hello, Murnau. What the hell? Cat? Seriously? Oh my gosh. I swear to God, Cat. What are you doing? Yes, it's the Murnau show. Everybody loves Murnau and his fluffiness. He's very fluffy. Yes. Hi.
Yes, I see you. You're a kitty.
He's really annoying. He is really starting to annoy me lately, and it's because, like many responsible people who, you know, don't have to work outside the home. Hi, Cat. I am staying at home, like, more than is probably mentally healthy for me, especially because it's winter and this is, like, my seasonal affective disorder season. Hi, Cat. Yes, I see you. Please go away. But yeah, he's being really annoying lately. Like at least last winter, like, shit didn't go in lockdown until March in Michigan anyway. So, like, I at least got to leave the house and still feel like a halfway responsible adult anyway. And so this winter, it's like, not only is my seasonal affective disorder aggravated by winter, but so is my back pain. And this last Tuesday, I don't know if I made the mistake or if Petco made the mistake, but first I noticed that I was charged for 2 25-pound bags of cat litter. And then when I went to go pick it up at the post office, because P.O. Box, I was delivered 2 25-pound bags of cat litter. Now, I could have returned one. There was a return slip with everything. Excuse me. To be fair, though, I didn't have tape to reseal the box and everything, and I was thinking to myself, okay, the post office closes in literally a minute. I could return the extra bag and, get my $16 back, or I could just suck it up, be less of a dickweed, to the very nice postal clerks at my post office. They are very sweet women. And I'm sure the guy who's often there when I am, I'm pretty sure he's gay. I'm pretty sure he's gay. He definitely seems to read me as an effeminate gay man, which is nice. But yeah, just like little things he says. He's, if I were to hazard a guess, I'd say in the area of 10 years my senior, which is not as creepy at my age, right? But hello, hi, yes, you're a pain in the ass. Oh my gosh. So, on the good side, he's learned that you're being a pain in the ass, or some variant of such, is a cue to get the hell off my lap because I'm not in the mood for this shit. So where was I going? Okay. He is a show stealer, isn't he? Oh, Lucifer, why are you not okay? Is it because, this thing is indeed picking up Wang in the background on my thing? I just... Okay, live chat. Why is Lucifer not okay? But, the crash in Texas. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I have been actively avoiding news that is not given commentary by, Stephen Colbert, Trevor Noah, Samantha Bee, and, you know, their respective correspondents. So, do you want to, like, tell me what happened before I find out tomorrow with my comedy news? Someone posted a video of it in a thread on Twitter, and I think I'm, honest to God, dissociating right now. There was... Oh, shit. Okay, so, some kind of massive traffic thing, or I don't know. But yeah, that's... Oh, shit. So I'm gonna try this save a highlight thing here. There's this save highlight thing on my end. Video, wait, what? Okay, oh my gosh, I wish I knew what that said. There were multiple semis, dude. Oh, shit. So yeah, that is a massive traffic accident, so, oops, tried to pull through this thing a second time. So, So, yeah, this whole save highlight thing, I'm curious about this because, oh my gosh. You know what, let me pull up the tablet real quick. Let me see if that will help me figure anything out. No, it's okay. My mood wasn't in the greatest position to begin with. Oh, hi, Siska! It's good to see you tuning in. I know, let's see, I am at least, what, oh, hey! Hello, Hey Shaker! Yeah, I had to, reset the time on this thing a couple times for tonight. And yeah, like, I intentionally took the night off on Tuesday from my show, on WFKU. Because, exactly a week before, and of course I find out the next day because of, family stuff. But, what was I doing? Right. But, yeah, so I found out the next day, so I found out on the 3rd that, my sister, so my half-sister on my dad's side, who's like my last living sister in general. Like my dad, I'm number 3 out of 4. Also the only boy in the 3 out of 4 there, or of the 4, whatever. The only boy of 4, number 3 out of 4. But my situation is a little bit more, a little bit less straightforward than his was, whereas like he and his sisters ostensibly shared all, both parents, all, together. And I believe it because they all have the same kind of face, which is much like mine, in a way. But, oh, right. YouTube live stream save highlight. GHT. I keep meaning to ask Best X if he can find me a firmware, like a new firmware for this. And yeah, I've become one of those weirdos who uses like pop sockets now. I've got one on the back of my phone that I stream and all from, because I have noticed that I do drop shit a lot, and it's because of the carpal tunnel syndrome in my hands, not because I'm just like a clumsy little jackass. So yeah, I've become one of those little weirdos, and I do kind of like that you can swap out the things on them, to okay, create a highlight, YouTube help. Will this tell me what I need to know about this? Because I've hit it twice. I don't know what it does when I do that. So let's find out. Okay, create a highlight. When you create a live stream, highlights can help you share a shorter, edited version of this live stream while you're streaming. How you create highlights depends on whether you use Live Control Room, Stream Now, or Events. Okay, none of those are a part of the app on my, well, okay. Stream Now is part of the app on my phone. Depends on whether you use Live Control Room. What the hell is Live Control Room? Add a stream marker to easily create a highlight. To make creating highlights easier, you can insert stream markers when something interesting happens while you're live streaming. Then when you're making a highlight in YouTube, I probably should have read this before I started, but I am just today, right? Let's see. When something interesting happens. Okay, then when you're making a highlight in YouTube editor. God damn it. Where's my Cat, did you take my magnifier thing? I thought I'd put it in here. And now everybody's looking at my weird body. Oh, there it is. Okay. Like, this is how blind I am. Okay. You can create a highlight while you're streaming, or edit it after you're done streaming if you're streaming by yourself, like many gamers. Wait. When you're making a highlight in YouTube editor, you'll see stream markers on the timeline. Okay. If you're streaming by yourself, like many gamers, or I guess in my case, assholes who do things in front of a camera, because I've got wood for Andy Warhol, right? You can create. Okay, you'll probably insert a stream marker for reference and then create highlight after your stream ends. If you're part of a team, you can easily create a highlight as you're streaming. Let's see, open YouTube Studio. That is not a... Okay, Stream Now. When you use Stream Now, you'll automatically detect your stream resolution and frame rate. Huh? After the stream starts, click Create Highlight below the player. Okay, is that Create Highlight below the player? Okay, that is not a thing that happens here, is it? What if I did this? I don't know. Okay, I just, like, there, and it says Save Highlight, Share, or Mute Microphone. So, but the thing is never on long enough. Like, when I click here to save highlight, it'll say up to last. Okay. It says something about up to last 5 minutes. I don't know what the hell. Click upload to process a highlight clip. Try the new live control room, which combines our classic desktop streaming tools. Okay, so was this helpful? I will say no. Need info about create highlight on mobile phone parentheses and Android end parenthesis app exclamation point submit. Thanks for your feedback. Oh, screw you, Google. So I have a cute neighbor boy, or at least as I may have said before, I did think he was quite cute. And then, where the fuck did it go? I just had it. This has been happening to me a lot lately, and I hate it. What the hell? I just had it. I just had it. Okay, hold on. What the hell? I just had it. I just had this goddamn crochet hook. What happened? I don't know what happened to it. I would go mad with this. Don't even understand my smart. Yeah, I just had it. I just had it, and then I picked up the thing to read the question, and okay, there it is. Okay. Stay. So where was I going? So, yeah, my sister, passed away on the 2nd. I am not sure of the time, but the situation, if you are another person in Michigan, like myself and Lucifer, the Argyle dinosaur, who is part of my, live stream moderation team, you've probably seen a whole lot of these commercials. Call Sam Bernstein. But I think Sam himself may have retired because, like, now it's 2 of his sons in the ads now. One, I'm pretty sure, is legally blind just by the way he kind of points his face at the camera. I'm pretty sure he's legally blind, but as far as the commercials go, they don't really point this out, but but yeah, which would be cool if he was, because I, being very, like, even with this prescription, these are the thin lenses. These are the thin lenses for my prescription. These are the thin lenses. But yeah, then what happens is the thing. All right, so yeah. So what happened? The reason I brought up 1-800-CALL-SAM is because I need to bring charges against either Tecumseh City Police, Adrian City Police, or Lenawee County Sheriff, and because this was wrongful death. She was clearly inebriated, according to her mother, and she was driving home, and the cop. And this is why I need to go see my family. This is why I need to go to Tecumseh and see my sister's mom and my aunt, because I need more details. Um and Norma is easier to talk to in person, because at this point in her life, like, she's 86 this year, 86 this May, and she is legally blind, just from age. She's mostly deaf in, I think it's her right ear. And she hears slightly better. I don't know. I don't remember asking the percentages, but she does seem to hear much better out of her left ear. Good fucking luck suing the police, buddy. Like, genuinely, I'm wishing you good luck. And yeah, cause see, this is what happened. So, like I said, like, this is why I need about $100 to get a Lyft driver round trip from my home to my sister's old apartment in Tecumseh. And the reason I need this is because, like I said, I need to bring a wrongful death suit. And I know it's probably going to settle out of court. I know it's probably, going to be barely a slap on the wrist to the officer who pulled her over and then let her drive home, in spite of the fact that she was clearly inebriated. But yeah, and so she went home, and then she waited like 2 hours and then went right back out, still inebriated, according to Norma. And yeah, I did drop an elderly woman's forename. You don't know her last name, so. And anyway, name dropping is not doxing. Granted, I did just mention that they live in Tecumseh, but and it is a town of, last I knew, under 5,000 people. But that's another story for another time. So, what's going on with this? So, I need to bring a wrongful death suit on this, because, if they had taken her in, there's a much better chance she would still be alive. Right? So, now, you may remember that I have mentioned before about my niece, and that is from this sister. Niece is 5 years old. This is why I can get very, like, I have only shared pictures of my niece under the close friends thing on the Instagram story posts, and I do not archive those because, like I said, like, niece is 5 years old. Niece and I share a birthday. We are, how old am I again? I'm trying to. Like, this is one of the downfalls of, like, messing with people about your actual age. So let's see. I am, okay, I'm gonna be that old this year. So yeah, niece and I are at least 35 years apart. Like, exactly, right? Because we share a birthday. Now, the reason I haven't, I'm not especially concerned about niece right now. The fact, like, the reason, like, niece is not with me right now, aside from the fact that this is an efficiency apartment. So okay, sister has bipolar. God, it's still so hard for me to, like, think past tense. So she's got bipolar disorder, and she's been through a lot. Her mother also has bipolar disorder, and in fact, like, sister's mom is old enough that she still refers to it as manic depression, right? Because that's what it was called when she was diagnosed in the late 60s, and sister was born mid-70s. In fact, I brought up to sister one of the times I'd last seen her was that because her mother and our dad are something like 8.5 years apart, and sister's mom is the older one. In fact, sister's mom's last husband was 20 years younger than herself, and this woman has outlived every man she has married. The last one left her a widow for the first time, but yeah, like before that, and she even said she divorced them all, right? But yeah, obviously, sister, like did not grow up in the most stable home with, like a mother who's got bipolar disorder, and sister herself has bipolar disorder, and oh my gosh, I'm about ready to like find the name of her psychiatrist too, to say, why did you give a woman with bipolar disorder only antidepressants? So she wasn't even on a mood stabilizer to, with antidepressants to supplement this. She was only on antidepressants. Well, she and I were on one thing that was the same, and I know I'm prescribed that for anxiety, though I know it's also prescribed as an antidepressant as well. So yeah, like she was like only on antidepressant and anxiety medication, which is not something you want to do with somebody who has bipolar disorder. Like you need a mood stabilizer. So that is almost certainly why sister had the relapses she has over the last year and a half that she's been trying to get her daughter back. And there's a story about that, of course, but like there's a literal 5.5-year-old involved here, so I'm not getting too into that. But yeah, like niece is safe. I have indeed met niece a couple times, a few times thereabouts. So, like I have like, worked up like an in-person relationship with niece. And in fact, like sister had weekly visits with niece, in the middle of like trying to, regain custody. Oh my gosh. Niece is like literally my favorite little kid too. She is, oh my gosh. The guy who works at the party store, convenience / liquor store, that's Michigan regional terminology for those unaware. But yeah, like up at the store around the corner from me, one of the guys who works there, like, so because I'm usually in there at night, right?
Hi, yes, you're a kitty.
So yeah, like I've told him about niece, and oh my gosh, like, and he has yet to meet niece, but niece is already like his favorite 5.5-year-old kid in the world. Hi, you're being a pain in the ass, please. Yes, I love you too. I love you too. He headbutted me, so I gotta give some love for that. He's a sweet boy, but he's very annoying. Yes, you little noodle. You're an annoying little noodle, aren't you? Yes, you are. So then what happened? So yeah, but yeah, oh right. Why is niece one of my like literally she's literally my favorite child in the whole world. Possibly my favorite person. Cat, seriously, Cat. Oh, yes, I love you too. I love you too. I wish I wasn't in this kind of mood right now as well. But you're not exactly being helpful. I'm trying to talk to people. I'm trying to talk to people about my feelings. Oh my gosh, Cat. He loves this. Don't ask me why. He's not the first cat of mine who loves this, but he loves this. So then what was I saying? Right. Oh yeah. Niece said to my sister one time, and this was like when she was 4 years old. Mommy, you have to get yourself better so that I can come home again. Like, like come home and stay all the time. And like this is a 4-year-old. Like on the one hand, it's like that is like one of the sweetest things that like she understands this. Like she understands that, that this is a mental health thing, right? That this is not a character flaw of her mom. This is just a mental health thing that, she needs to like find the right way to, like stay healthier, right? But on the other hand, it's also kind of sad because like, you don't think like a 5-year-old should be able to comprehend this, like, or at the time she was like 4, right? So you think like, like a 4 or 5 year old child should not be able to, comprehend this, because like that is a grown-up world kind of thing, and a child has no reason to, be able to has no reason to, or should have no reason to be able to comprehend this, or at least most people would think that, right? But at the same time, like I said, like it makes, well, see, like I can understand the sentiment there, but um at the same time it's like it's like, it's I think it's a beautiful thing that she understood that that she understands that much about mental health, like at 5 years old already, because like that's an immense display of empathy, right? like it's not like I can see why people would think that it's kind of sad and heartbreaking, but at the same time, it's it's just like she understands, and she understands that it's not a bad thing to have mental health problems. Like that's why I think that's, like, just that's one of the things that I love about her, is that she doesn't, she knows that it's, yeah, she knows it's like, she knows that it's like being sick, right? She knows that, like, just like having any other kind of illness, this is not necessarily, anybody's fault. This, like, it is definitely not a character flaw of her mother's, my sister's, that it is just a thing that happens sometimes. And when you have this kind of illness, you have a responsibility to yourself and those around you to, stay better, right? Kids understand so much, right? Oh yeah. Like, and like I said, I think that's so sweet that she understands this already. Cat, seriously, please move, please move, please move, please move some more. I'm really not in the mood, honey. I love you, but I'm not in the mood right now. I'm okay. Oh, uh is this steampunk act? I think so. But yeah, like I said, I understand why people think it's heartbreaking, because that just seems like such a grown-up issue. But at the same time, like, I mean, like I said, like, this was something my sister had to deal with. That like, this was something that she had to deal with in her life. And like, short of saying that people with certain mental illnesses shouldn't have children, I don't I don't know why it's sad, because like, there are going to be people who have that kind of, struggle in their life. And short of, going rah eugenics, um I I don't think that there's any reason that people who have those kind of struggles should not be able to have kids in their life. And I think it's better that somebody learn at 5 years old that, like, no, this is not a character flaw. This does not make her mommy a bad person. It means that her mommy has an illness that is nobody's fault. And seriously, cat, okay, it means her mommy has a kind of a sickness that is nobody's fault, and that she needs to, to take care of. And I think it's better that, she learned that at 5, and have that empathy for people, than like, not figure out that mental illness is a thing until she's much older, and then like struggle with struggle with the, the social pressure to think of that as a character flaw in people. Because like, people like to, brush off people, those of us with ADHD, as being, well, you're just lazy. And I'm like, no, I genuinely struggle to stick to a basic schedule. um like, this is not a character flaw, this is just how my brain is wired, right? And so, yeah, like when there are when there are people like my age, like, who, like, this was, like, ADHD was the autism spectrum of the 80s, okay? It very much was the, autism spectrum of the 80s, where like suddenly there were kids being diagnosed with this, left and right, and people, were just like, oh no, this is just kids who need to like sit down and shut up and just need to learn how to do that. I'm like, but no, like it is a genuine struggle to learn how to do that when you've got an ADHD brain, right? And so like I said, like there are people my age who still like think of ADHD, like, people who have ADHD as having some kind of perverse character flaw that, you should just like learn how to sit down and shut up once in a while. I'm like, no, that, like, trust me. So yeah, like I said, like there are people my age, who grew up with, with other kids in their classroom who had ADHD. And my dad and my mother fought tooth and nail against getting me diagnosed as such because, they couldn't wrap, they struggled so hard trying to wrap their head around, the fact that this was anything but, like a smart kid who just needed to learn better. Serious, please don't lick me there. That's really weird and it tickles and it's awful. Yes, I love you, but please don't lick my abdomen. It does not, no, it's not nice. It's annoying. It's very annoying. You can still see him right here in the corner, right? He is... Oh my gosh. I can sit here doing this broomstick crochet thing that I've been working on for the last week and a half or so, and... Nah, more like 2 weeks. I started it a little bit before I found out about my sister. But yeah, like I said, I don't think it's heartbreaking that my niece knows about, like how her mommy was ill. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's better that you learn when you're a kid, right? I think it's better that you learn when you're a little kid. Um, just joined. We talked. I did make some kind of mention about this because I did say something about the cops earlier because so okay, I'd mentioned earlier in the stream that my sister who passed away about a week and a half ago, she had bipolar disorder, and she was not being properly medicated for her bipolar disorder. And so like she was just on antidepressants, and something that I'm prescribed for anxiety, but I know it's also just prescribed as an antidepressant as well. She was not on a mood stabilizer, which you really need when you've got bipolar disorder, because the antidepressants will help when your mood swings depressive, but when your mood swings manic, right? The antidepressants aren't going to do shit for that. And so yeah, like she went manic again, and that caused another relapse, and she was clearly inebriated, and she went out for a drive to do whatever, and she was pulled over for driving under the influence, but she was not ticketed. In fact, the cop just told her, just drive home and forget about this. And in spite of the fact that she's clearly inebriated, and this is a zero tolerance state, right? This is supposed to be a zero tolerance state for that kind of shenanigans, but so yeah, so I need to go see my family, or what's left of it, right? I need to go see my aunt, who is staying the remainder of the month with my sister's mom, because she and I only shared a father. So yeah, I need to go see my sister's mom and get better details, because she's 86 and she's hard of hearing, and she's legally blind. She's partially deaf in one ear and slightly less, and she hears better out of the other ear, but still not great, right? So it's easier to go talk to her about this kind of stuff like in person, just because of the challenges she's got with age, right? So then what happens? So then what happens is I need to get some information from her about this, so that for those of us in Michigan, there is especially in this part of the mitten, instant map of Michigan. So around here, like, we are bombarded with these commercials, especially during daytime TV. For 1-800-CALL-SAM. Unfortunately, like I said, I need more info before, like, we can, like, I need to know, was this Tecumseh City Police, was this Adrian City Police, or was this Lenawee County Sheriff, right? And Sister's mom would know that better than I, like she would know that, but it's difficult to get info from her over the phone. Unfortunately, of my local friends who have a reliable car, one has, like, actual diagnosed lupus, so they're not in the, they're not completely comfortable driving somebody. Hi, hello, yes. They're not completely comfortable driving somebody with whom they do not live that long, like that half-hour drive, and then come pick me back up the next day, and half-hour drive back, which ends up being, for that friend, like 1 hour, round trip each day, right? So I could order a Lyft driver, but that's going to be about $45 each way, just like the basic estimate. And then what happens? So yeah, that's going to be about $45 each way. And because of the distance, I would feel like shit doing anything less than a 20% tip for whatever Lyft driver decides to brave the wilds of Lenawee County. If this were nicer weather, I would absolutely just, like, take my bicycle down there. According to Google Maps, it's about 2.5 hours on bicycle. I would like to also, like, adjust that to avoid the freeways, because I don't trust these people. Like, there are I would, oh my gosh, especially this part of Michigan. There are other parts of Michigan where I would feel fine driving on the streets, or driving my bicycle on the streets, but not around here. Not around here. Too many university students, too many people who are just, like, really aggressive drivers. And so I'm like, I don't trust these people. I do not trust these drivers. Plus, like, the stop that I get off at, the bus stop I get off at when I'm on my way home, that's just, like, in the area of about a block from me. So, like, that lets off on Washtenaw Avenue. And so Washtenaw Avenue is here, but it curves. It curves a bit. And so there's this blind spot about here, and the bus stop is here. But people still keep zipping around that blind spot, and I don't trust these drivers. I do not trust these drivers. So yeah, like, because it is not spring, and because of crap and stuff, Sister's mom will be there until, like, the end of the month. So I need to go visit. So that I can pull all together all the stuff that I need for filing a wrongful death against the against whatever police or sheriff, that I need to, because this is a zero tolerance state for DUI. it's supposed to be anyway. And yet they let her go. Whereas if they had like pulled her off and like had her in the drunk tank overnight, she would still be alive. So yeah, it is completely the cop's fault that my sister died. Because yeah, she did go home like she was, you know, told to, but 2 hours later, she's still wasted and goes right back out. So yeah, like that needs to be addressed, and I need to go. Like I said, it's just so much easier to talk to sister's mom in person because she's 86 years old. She's something like 80% deaf in one ear, but only 40 in the other. And it's just plus the whole like thing, like I really want to see family right now. So like I want to see my aunt. I want to see, you know, and my aunt's gonna be there with sister's mom until the end of the month. I want to see my niece, the family friend that niece has been with while sister has been improperly medicated for her bipolar disorder. I also want to see if like I really hope they haven't thrown out any of my sister's old pill vials because that would give me the name of her psychiatrist to add him onto this as well. Because and the reason that I want to press charges for this is because okay, so sister's primary income herself was Social Security disability, right? And Social Security pays out dick for to cover the cost of death, right? They pay out dick for that. So I just want to say like I just want to get like enough to cover like the cost for the remainder cost for cremation and like whatever kind of memorial and just like enough to cover like the bills that were backed up for them plus and like have a minimum of $5,000. Like I'm only thinking $5,000 left over to put it in a trust fund for my niece, because because even though my sister was sick, like and wasn't functioning properly because she wasn't on the right medications for her bipolar, she loved that little girl and I love that little girl, right? So I just want to put aside just a little bit, like like a very modest trust fund of like $5,000, that should be that should be able to build some interest that she'd be able to access when she's 21 or 25, whatever. I know you can set a different age for it, and that way like she'll know that even though even though her mommy's illness is what did her in, she's still very much loved. She's still very much loved, and um yeah, and that's what that's why I said something in the description box with the PayPal link, because like super chat, I don't know when super chats pay out. I really don't. So I don't know. If you think I should go see my aunt and my sister's mom and my niece before the end of the month, like please do it via PayPal, because I don't know when super chats pay out. Kat, seriously, I know. I'm about crying, and you love me, and I yeah, I'm a seriously, Kat. I love you, but you're very annoying right now. Hi. Yes. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I've not been having a great week and a half. Cause yeah, after I've not been having a great week and a half. Like, I mean, except for my aunt and my niece, I don't really have any biological family left. And even my niece, like, she's not a family member who I grew up with. So yeah, like, my 74-year-old aunt, like, that's the last of the family I grew up with. Just me and her at this point. Her sisters and her brother, being my father, have all passed away. My mother's passed away. My sister from both parents passed away. My sister from my mom's side has passed away. My sister from my dad's side has now passed away. And I'm not... Cat, I swear. Murnau is being very annoying lately. I don't know if it's just the fact that, like, he's always up in my face and I'm just getting sick of it at this point. Hold on. Wish I didn't live in Minnesota. Oh, that's all right. I mean, big virtual hugs. Sorry that this was in the... Let me see, is there a way? Hey. Okay, nope. Really, the camera lens goes all the way down, huh? Okay, that's interesting. Okay, but there is a spot where I can, put the magnifier over there and it won't, but, yeah, Hi. Hi. So, yeah, I also finally finished the, seriously, oh, please stop. Okay, well, these gotta go to the, I was gonna... That... Oh, thanks. It's discontinued. This is, Fair Isle Port Sparkle in Peacock. And unfortunately, it seems that, the Fair Isle yarn is... I don't think it's being made anymore because I have tried looking it up and... Hold on. I've tried looking it up and, to, oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, crap. Hold on. Shit. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I've kind of cocooned myself in crafty shit lately, but which kind of makes some sense, I suppose. But yeah, I was gonna give this blanket that I made. I know some of the stream people saw it when I started on it and was most of the way through. But yeah, I decided I was gonna give this to my sister's mom, and wait. Oh, there it is. There's the thing. Heard good things about Fair Isle, but haven't been able to find any anywhere. I just make do with generic cotton yarn. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the blanket I finished a few weeks ago, and hi. Please don't. Please leave me alone. Thank you. But where was I going? Right, yeah. Oh yeah, it's great yarn, and I can't, like, I have done searches online. Like, I've like even used fucking DuckDuckGo to see if, you know, that'll give me a more balanced thing. Like, I had to do price checks on it at Joann because it was put in the little tray cart with all the clearance items, because I guess they're not getting any more of it ever. But like, it doesn't even scan. It doesn't even scan on the Joann app, where a lot of things will scan on the Joann app. Something like 90% of the store scans on the Joann app because, you know, like, sometimes the price is unclear, and they don't have the little scanners at the end of the aisles at the store I usually go to. So yeah, I wanted to give the blanket to my sister's mother, and this is what I had intended to give to my sister for um for the, you know, winter gifting. But yeah, I finished it a couple of weeks ago. So like, there's the back there, and there you go. It's basically a stole, or capelet. The pattern called it a sweater wrap, but I'm like, it's basically a stole or capelet. But yeah, I guess I can give this to my aunt now, or maybe sister's mom would like it. I don't know. I just know there's no more room for it in here at my place, because if I kept it any longer. So yeah, like, I want to go take the gifts to my sister's mother and my aunt. I've already given the gifts to my niece, because that's the important thing, right? Like, the important thing is to have the child's gifts, and, you know, the adults know that, you know, like the adults understand that money and shit better than children do. Ah, so talented. Oh, that's I oh, really? Oh my gosh. I find the cabling patterns really easy for the most part. There's a couple that have vexed me, but um but
female robot trying to teach Peter the dolphin how to speak English, but their relationship progressed to a whole new level. Apparently, though, according to the article, she didn't actually take the whole 15-inch dolphin thing, though. She just, gave him a little tug and let him go off. Apparently, what wound up being more controversial in this experiment was the fact that they were testing out LSD on dolphins. Anyway, let's continue with the original episode. Warning: in the considerations of safety, you should never let a male dolphin attempt anal sex with you. The bottlenose dolphin member is around 12 inches, very muscular, and the thrusting and the force of ejaculation, a male can come as far as 14 feet, would cause serious internal injuries, resulting in peritonitis and possible death. Unless you are the masochistic type, you'll have a hard time explaining your predicament to the doctors in the emergency room. A male dolphin's member is roughly S-shaped, tapered at the end. If you are in the water with them, it is best to support the dolphins on his side just underwater with one hand and the hand in hand with the other. Male dolphins, I find, tend to prefer the base of the penis to be gently massaged and squeezed, as well as gently rubbed along its length. It feels very much like the rest of the dolphin, i.e. smooth and rubbery to the touch, but firmer. It doesn't take long for the male to ejaculate, around 40 seconds to a minute, and this is usually accompanied by either shuddering just prior to ejaculating and thrusting and tail arching during ejaculation. The force of ejaculation can be powerful at times, so it is best to keep your face out of the line of fire, or keep this member underwater. You can attempt to lick and suck the end of it while masturbating as well, but be warned. Do not try to give it full throat, and get the hell out of the way before he ejaculates. A male dolphin could snap your neck in an accidental thrust, and that would be the end of that relationship. The female. Well, the females are again a little trickier. There are two courses of action with the female fin: masturbation or mating. Masturbation. Female dolphins, once they show interest in you, can be supported in much the same way as the male. One hand under the fin, supporting her, the other doing the stimulating. The clitoris of the female is located at the top of the genital slit, and this is a prominent lump when erect. You can rub this with your fingertips or lick and suck it, but with the oral aspect, you might end up with bruised nose as they thrust into you. You can slide your hand gently into
I
the
don't know
fin
why, but I
and
find
pull
Justin
on one
Wang's
side
voice
as
kind of
well.
like oddly
It feels a little
comforting,
bit muscular
and
inside,
he
doesn't
doesn't
it?
sound like
Some
anybody I
people
grew
truly
up with.
slump through their
Or it might
entire
just be the
lives,
fact
and
that
you'd be surprised if there's someone
he's one of
just
those
like
like
that.
terminally
Female males
heterosexual but
manipulate
really
muscles and
hot
movements
guys.
to carry and manipulate your
And
member, including your hand. They can do things that will make a regular human woman turn green with envy. Now, you ladies gotta step your kegel game up. Your climax is coupled with stiffening, shuddering, sometimes a lot of thrusting, clenching of the vaginal muscles, and sometimes vocalization. Mating. This is harder. Obviously, being human is awkward, but not impossible to make it underwater. It's easier to have the dolphin in the shell
or at least
very
he's in the
gently pull
category
gently
where I
against the muscles
assume
of the shell
hetero
around 1.5
until
to 2
given
feet.
evidence of
When you're usually
otherwise.
comfortable enough for both the dolphin and you, gently, you should roll the dolphin on her side so she is lying belly towards you. You can prop yourself up on an elbow and lie belly to belly against her. You may want to use the other arm to gently hold her close and place the tip of your member against her genital slit. She will, if interested, arch her body up against you, taking you inside her body. There is usually a fair bit of wriggling and shifting, usually to get comfortable both outside and inside. Once comfortable, though, females initiate a series of muscular vaginal contractions that run the entire length of your member. They may also thrust rhythmically against you, so enjoy the experience while you can, since you will rarely last longer than a minute or two. Just prior to her climaxing, she will thrust up the speed of her contractions and thrusts. It is interesting to note that the times I have mated with females, they have timed their orgasms to mine. Whether they do this consciously or not, I do not know, but it is a great feeling to have two bodies shuddering against each other at the one time. And this part's, I guess it's kind of interesting because of one half, the amount of detail he goes into like the elbow positioning and things like that makes you think that maybe this is a guy who's actually done things like this, but at the same time, with all the warnings he's given about the power of these briefs and whatnot, I'd be scared of getting my dick ripped clean the fuck off. It seems like something that's well in the realm of possibility here. One thing to note: whether you masturbate or make a film, male or female, always spend time with them afterwards. Cuddle them, rub them, talk to them, and most importantly, show them you love them. This is essential, as it helps to strengthen the bond between them. Like a way of saying this wasn't just a one-night fling. The dolphins appreciate it, and they will want your company more the next time you visit them. Honestly, there's probably human women watching this that wish they were treated as well as the fucking dolphins in the story. But just because you've successfully fucked the dolphin, that doesn't mean that your concerns should end here. What diseases can I get from dolphins? Can I give them any? I have no experiences with sexually transmitted
But
diseases.
yeah, I had to go and get, because this had like slipped way behind other stuff. So like under my coffee table is just like a big rack of craft pattern books. This is vintage 1971, and so this is what I've been making using the broomstick lace method.
Touching them unless you wash hands with a betadine surgical scrub prior to handling. This is available from most veterinary and surgical suppliers. If you have some disease of some sort, avoid mating for the dolphin's sake. This is a little known area, more so because zoophilia is considered illegal in many places, which I think is a little bit crud, but the law's the law. Is there any way I could invite a dolphin to masturbate? Well, yes, if they are hanging around, but not looking particularly excited, which you are, you can invite them this way. And now we enter the pickup artist part of dolphin sex instructions. Male and female dolphins can be invited by rolling them on their sides, again, but instead of going straight to the genital slit, rub along their bellies between their pectoral fins, along the navel, and every once in a while, over the genital slit. They are responsive, they show the signs of excitement as described earlier, and you can proceed as usual. If, however, they are not responsive, they'll swim away or turn back upward. Do not force the issue with the dolphin.
Okay,
Try
that's
to restrict
Gak
them to
saying.
only drink their testicles. It could cause you serious
Yes, Lucifer, terminally heterosexual.
try
I
trying.
think this is
It's the
Gacked.
best.
If you ever
Anyway,
want more
let the
yarn,
dolphin tell
let me
you
know.
when they are ready. It is far more
Some of this
pleasant
stuff
than
there.
normally going anywhere, and more special. Wow, what a fucking simp. Where can I find a
Oh,
dolphin?
yeah, yeah, if you want to, like, DM me some pics of the yarn on Instagram, right now, um, right now I'm being a bit picky about which ones I will take in, you know, like what yarns I want to do, because like I said, I'm running out of space. I've made things for people that I need to give to them, and all I ask for to give to them is $100 so that I can um so yeah, all I ask is that b- uh, like $100 for a Lyft driver to um, take me to Lenawee County, Michigan, so that I can not only give gifts to people, but also get the info that I need to get the info I need to bring a wrongful death suit against the at this point, just like for the sake of brevity, just say Lenawee County Sheriff, because you know this is supposed to be a zero tolerance state for DUI, and they let her go anyway. And even though like a night in jail, like she would still be alive if she had to spend the night in the drunk tank. That is indisputable. So
I thought the whole thing was just a joke, maybe some kind of satire or experiment in weird fiction. But now that I'm much older and I've kind of seen the world that's out there, we got people walking around on Twitter with squiggly lines to let everyone know they're zoophiles. I'm erring on the side of thinking that this guy might just be legitimate. I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comment section. But anyway, until then, avoid the squiggly line. Peace out. In my recent video about the Lost Nightmare on Elm Street game for NES, there was one possibility that I neglected to mention. And when I received an email from a viewer who had personally investigated this story for years, it seems like it might be the most likely explanation. The explanation being that perhaps the prototype didn't actually exist, and the screenshots we saw were simply mock-up images. So for this video, let's take another look at these screenshots. But if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I suggest you watch my other video on this topic first. If you don't feel like it, here's a super fast summary. So for a period of time in the late 80s, LJN was promoting a Nightmare on Elm Street game through posters alongside its other games, and it also had articles written about it in Nintendo Power.
Goddamn, Justin Wang's so fucking hot, though. Like, I do not use this phrase lightly, but the man is goddamn delicious. Like, I could just lick his face for hours. And I don't mean that, like, euphemistically to try and, like, avoid demonetization from, you know, like, whatever, like, algorithm that scans all this for all of that. In fact, I'm sure I probably, like, lost any potential monetization over this for, you know, just, like, talking about, like, my sister having been inebriated the night she died and had a car accident because the Lenawee County Sheriff decided to just let her go, right? So then what happens is, like, yeah, so, like, I'm not even, like, I don't even mean that, like, as a euphemism for anything. I want to literally lick this man's face. Like, and I'm sure he tastes like sugar candy. Sugar candy. I don't know. I guess as opposed to diabetic candies, I guess. But yeah, like, the man is goddamn delicious. The man just looks like you could lick him for hours, and
In his first email, he tells me that it's a popular school of thought that the images seen in magazines and the posters were actually just mock-up images. And he thinks that the only screenshot from this prototype that has a chance of being real is the title screen. You mentioned that LJN throughout its history had a lot of issues with games that were butchered between the early versions and the release. A lot of this came from issues with pirates in the company, and sometimes even Nintendo themselves. The example he used to illustrate this was Diolch. He sent me a variety of screenshots comparing the prototype
oh wait,
versions to the release versions, and the thing about this is, it is a little different for any situation. In the Diolch screenshots he sent me, it's very obviously the same game.
Oh, thanks so much for the yarn. Yeah, I want to. Yeah, if you want to, just yeah, like, send me some pictures. I'll pick out what I like and tell you my PO box, or you could just, like, look in the description box in any of my previous videos because I usually put it there. Suddenly found myself getting a lot more done with this blanket than I have in the past week. Love the cozy crafting. Thank you so much. I just, hey, okay, I think that says hey shake. Hey shaker, so sorry about what you're going through. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Like it's been a time. In fact, like, when I posted it to the Farceborg, like, everybody's been saying such nice things. Like, you know, people I didn't even know that, like, my sister knew, or like were families from her mother's side that I never really knew about because I but yeah, I got, like, so many, like, truly lovely friends in my life right now. I mean, even though, like, a lot of them, like, are either in, you know, another state or another country. Got a lot of friends in the UK. That, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. During the 90s when I was in junior high and high school, because my eldest sister, who's the one from my mother's side, who died about, I want to say about the year before I started doing YouTube videos regularly. But yeah, so that sister, so she used to be road crew, for like package tours, and she worked festivals once in a, every so often. Like she could do a couple festivals during, that season in, on the continent, and make pretty good money. And but so like I would stay with her and my brother-in-law during summers, and my brother-in-law is actually like how I got into the goth subculture. Like the man, like, has been a fan of Susie and the Bench. So like that sister on that side, um, she is about 13 years older than me. Um, was anyway, I guess. Hi, hello, Murnau. Hi, have you come to annoy me some more? I know. You just want lovin's. You just want lovin's. You want to sit up here on the stool? That would be nice. That would be nice. Come on the stool. Really? Really? You're gonna be difficult about this right now? Huh. Cat. Oh my gosh. Did you see him just like aggressively like snuzzle my hand with his face? Hi, yes, headbutts. I love your headbutts. Yes, you're very... Hi. Okay, it's the Murnau show. It's the Murnau show. Look at this cat. Look at this cat. What is this cat? I know, you're such a baby. Oh, little baby. Little baby. Right? Yes. Like a little baby. One of his nicknames, because like, you're not the best pet parent if you don't have at least half a dozen goofy nicknames for, for your pets, right? Like each one individually, right? Um, Murnau, I call him Little Noodle. He's a goofy little floofball. He's also a floofy little goofball. But when I'm talking to him while he's either snuzzling, either like cuddling with, or just out or playing with, or sometimes just outright annoying one of the other two, because the other two find him annoying at least as much as I do lately.
Right? Right? I know. You're an annoying little noodle, aren't you? Yes, you are.
But yeah, like I'll call him little brother to the other two, to the other two sometimes. Yeah, Phoebe and Nigel are coincidentally the same age, but after Mr. Midnight died. Now, Mr. Midnight, he hasn't been in any of my videos because he died almost a year before I started doing videos regularly. And no, no, no. Look, you. Hi, yes, I know. Mr. Snoogie Woogie Floofy Floof. Yeah, he's something, isn't he? But yeah, where was I going with this? Yeah, Mr. Midnight. So Phoebe and Mr. Midnight were in foster together for like maybe a year before I adopted Phoebe, and maybe 6 months later, after I adopted Phoebe, I I accidentally ended up at another, at Petco at the same time as an adoption event, and I made some kind of joke to Phoebe's old foster about like, oh yeah, I've got the big black cat being Nigel, I've got a little black cat being Phoebe. I just need a fluffy black cat to complete the set, right? And she said, "Oh, I've got the perfect boy for you if you want to come by next week." And I said, and because it was, because of the time of the month, I said, "Okay, make it 2 weeks, so that like I know that like I will have like because I had to wait to get paid." But yeah, Wasn't even a full year and a half later that. So yeah, like Phoebe met got back with her foster brother like 6 months later. So like they'd already become very close. They'd already been very close before. And Nigel now had a brother close enough to his age. He was probably a little bit older, but I know um um um, um Mr. Midnight, his story before he got to foster was like he was likely abandoned. So it's a lot more difficult to try and guess a cat's age than a dog's. Like dogs, their teeth will wear down very consistently. Cats, on the other hand, um, like you can kind of take a guess, but um, 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 um. But it's like I don't know. It's a lot more difficult to try and guess an adult cat's age just because of the way their bodies age compared to dogs, right? Um. So yeah, and I know and I know like when they're likely abandoned and end up in foster, and you got to take a guess on their age. A lot of times they'll lowball it just for the fact that it's a lot easier to adopt out a younger adult cat than a senior adult cat. So, like if the vet said, he's between 5 and 9 years old, probably. They will go with the lower end, which was 5. So like his age was estimated to be about 6 when I adopted him, so about a year older than Nigel and Phoebe. But it's also possible he was a little bit older than that. So, but yeah, his kidneys failed very, very suddenly over the course of about 8 weeks. So, like Phoebe and Nigel just like started snuggling together a lot, like especially the week before he died, because they could tell that he was sick, that their buddy was sick. He was basically like a brother to the two of them. So um, but yeah, like they were there to comfort each other, and those two snuggle together a lot now. In spite of the fact that they're not litter mates, because usually you only see that with litter mates, but no, like like their friend died. Their friend died, and they saw him be very sick for you know over a very relatively short amount of time, and when Phoebe started getting annoyed by Nigel trying to wrestle again because, you know, she's a lady. She does not like to wrestle. She'll chase. She'll chase just fine, but Nigel always wants to escalate from chasing into wrestling. So she indulged him for a little bit, but like when it was clear that she was getting annoyed by him again, I was just like, all right. I guess the mourning period is over. Phoebe's no longer dealing with. Phoebe no longer has the patience for Nigel's bullshit anymore. Um, could probably stand to get Nigel a brother again. So yeah, so Murnau is little brother, and I adopted him as an older kitten just because honestly I didn't know if the other two would be able to deal with like seeing seeing a seeing another brother die on them like that. So, and I know I definitely didn't want to. I mean, and I'm not opposed to adopting another adult cat at some point in the future. I'm not opposed to that at all. In fact, um, I kind of hoped to adopt another adult cat, but um, early in 2020. But then all hell broke loose, and here we are, right? She was even like about a year older than Nigel and Phoebe, but she was surrendered. She was surrendered by family, so they have a good age on her. Um, and she was missing an eye. She was missing an eye, um, which was allegedly from an infection that she'd had some years before. So, hi.
looking at it and at it. I have no recollection of what console this game was
Are
made
you a
for or when it came
kitty?
out. I know that it was
Are
on
you a
PlayStation 3.
fluffy
I
kitty?
know this is so vague.
Are you a goofy, fluffy kitty?
Also, it had to be before
Yes,
the
I
end of
know.
2002.
Hi. Yes. You're very annoying right now. Yes, you are. I'm trying to finish this thing. I'm trying to finish this thing. Why won't you let me? Why? Why? Why won't you let me do the thing, kitty? Why not? Seriously? Um, he's very fluffy. Aren't you? Yes, you are. I know. You just got the most beautiful tail in the whole wide world. Oh, yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do. Hi, cat.
And it was made after 2000 because I don't think that society would have been okay with something like that. I also just had the strong feeling that it was after 2000.
All right.
Are you sure
We're
fawr
now.
was the focus of the game? Yeah, I am. Why did you have that in
I
mind?
would like to finish this.
The possibilities open.
I would like to
One
at
of the
the.
games
Oh
that
my
people
gosh.
suggested
Seriously,
the game
cat.
in Fig was called Wild
I
Season.
know.
Wild Season
I
was a
know.
2015 farming game that was presented a bit
I
differently.
know. You're just such a pretty boy, and you're just like, please,
There was also
please.
Escape Land. However, Escape Land is a bit too recent and it's also in 3D, looking
Aren't you
nothing like Harvest
pretty?
Moon. Other users suggested that it might have been an RPG Maker game, which definitely seems like something that might be
Cato.
possible. Granted, no
Hi.
RPG Maker game could ever top
Hi.
345 Sonic-styled RPG.
This is the prophecy of Ruadhán. Let's get down to business.
Another user suggested that perhaps it was all just a dream. At
What
this
you
point,
doing?
the most likely origin of
What
this game
is your deal?
dreams. It's the
What
exact
is
sort
your
of thing
deal,
hackers
little
can
mister?
create. Something you
Huh?
enjoy
What
/
is
think
it?
about in real life.
What is it?
Harvest Moon.
What is your
Tomorrow,
deal?
with the terrible incident you have to suffer through in guilt while nobody around you actively notices
Hmm?
and are just generally probably
What's
suspicious
your
of.
damage?
Everyone has
You are
guilt
damaged.
this
Yes, you
looks like
are.
yours. You probably mixed it up with
What
real life
made you
or
like
something for
this?
some time.
What made you like
Here's
this?
how
Huh?
oddly
You're
it
so
feels to
annoying.
enter gameplay in a
You
market
are.
and have to create
But you're
things on the
cute.
ground.
But you're
I
cute and you're
felt that
fluffy, and that helps you get away with
and while I
everything.
do agree that
Oh,
this is
yes,
an
it
awful lot
do.
of
Oh,
work
yes,
for
it do.
something that only had been
It
able
helps you
to
get away with
prototype
everything.
them.
Waha!
The brief explanation doesn't
Wahahaha!
really pan out for me.
Kitty.
I've definitely had dreams
Kitty,
that put me
kitty,
in an
kitty.
unlikely situation in a
Use a
predictable world
kitty.
but nothing that
I
was ever
know.
so believable or
Kitty.
realistic, or even that much felt like a
Hi.
video
Oh
game
my
that
gosh.
bring it out with me into the real
What is
world
your
that felt
damage, little
real.
dude?
I always feel like my
Huh?
dreams
What is
personally
it?
are a lot less
What?
real than
What?
people
Tell
describe
me.
their dreams as being. Well, so maybe that's just me.
Tell me your
My
kitty
dream explanation
secrets.
is a bit more humbling. As a couple of years later, a user named
Seriously,
Kate
cat.
Spade AMA would come looking for a very similar game.
Stop. No. Just to save some time, I'm gonna send you a few photos from. Oh, cat. Seriously, please move. Please move. From one of the bins I have. I have like 3 yarn bins, and they're mostly all the same. Okay.
Before I upgraded my computer and lost it. It was a farming Stardew Valley style of game where you murder your wife and then you try and pretend you never killed her. And that was the whole game. Keep farming and make sure no one finds out you killed her. There was a fishing mini game, and I specifically remember fishing up evidence of your wife's murder and then you pass out. Another user was quick to point out the
Please
thread
stop.
from all those years
Thank
back.
you.
This is one of the top posts of all time on the sub, and it remains unanswered now. So it probably wasn't a dream then. Maybe OP could provide us with more details than the old post. Oh wow, I thought I was the only one. Not mentioned in that post was the pixel art gameplay and weird cutscenes in a different art style. It was downloaded off some shoddy indie dev's website that also had a ton of graphic live leak style videos to download. The name was so out there that I can't think of what it was. It might have started with an ash and then kept going, but that might have been another site. And while it's possible that David Spade AMA simply went back through tipped my joystick archives and decided to start a wild goose chase, it seems a little unlikely to me. It's just such an obscure thing to try and piggyback and turn into a whole internet thing. He also addressed the RPG Maker question. What graphical and error details can you add? Also, do you know if it was an RPG Maker game? Was it a standalone game? Did you download off the web? It was not an RPG Maker game, and I do think it was freeware, downloaded off the web and not a physical disc. It was its own game, downloaded off what I think was the developer's website, and there was a ton of messed up stuff on the website, like r/watch people die type stuff. It had a weird art style. I remember the game Y2K is what made me think of it. It was pixel art during gameplay, but had cutscenes too, which I don't remember if they were voiced. The question of the game's escape plan was brought up once again, and while David Spade said this wasn't the game, he did say that the cutscenes might have resembled the graphical style. A lot of people at this point wound up comparing this story to the Candle Cove creepypasta. To put it briefly, the Candle Cove creepypasta played itself out over the course of a forum thread. In the thread, various users were told details about a creepy TV show named Candle Cove. The fact that it was a creepy children's show and people couldn't seem to find it was central to this story. Personally, I can't help but think that if that were the case with this story, there would have been more specific details by now. But really only had this.
Yeah, one of the reasons that I set the time back another 15 minutes after I got home tonight is because I was about a week past due on my hair dye day, and I needed a little bit more time than I expected. So
However, these elements do not include the murder of your wife or hiding the body from the police. Instead, the game involves you going into a creepy dream world at night where the crops that you farm can help your gameplay. It seems like a really cool game, but it's not this game. The search for this game would heat up once again later that month, December of 2018, when someone posted, and longtime viewers of my channel are going to quote when I say this, so get ready. A renderer claimed that he had this game on his old laptop, but the laptop wouldn't boot up. You see, the hard drive on the laptop was messed up and needed to be recovered. Avoiding the police after killing your wife and living a normal life. Hi all, first time posting here. Today I found my old laptop, but sadly it won't boot up. But it brought back some great memories, particularly the game I'm about to describe. So at the start of the game, you killed your wife, but after that, you just lived as a normal managing your farm. However, it had a twist. The police could come at any time and find your body, so you had to constantly be wary and look for the body. The laptop was built in 2001, and I bought a new one in 2003, so it would have been between that time.
another one of my favorite, like, hot yet terminally heterosexual YouTubers is Owen from Telltale Atheist. Oh my god, I don't know why, but I like. Oh, he's just so fucking cute. He's just so fucking cute. Now, not quite as lickable, by which I mean literally want to lick Justin Wang's face. I do. I just want to lick his face for hours. And then, like, maybe touch him inappropriately. Consensually, but not appropriate for all viewers. Probably not appropriate, even. Murnau always thinks he's being helpful. That's his problem. But, yeah, Owen is just fucking gorgeous. He is. He's... But, yeah, like... I think I got the term terminally heterosexual from just some kind of passing comment he had made in one of his videos, or it was either him or another friend of mine. I said another friend of mine, but, like, I don't know Owen personally. Like, not even in online terms. It also occurred to me, like, after about a week after my sister had passed, that a lot of the condolences comments that I'd gotten were from other musicians that I know, or had met or something, and I'm just like, wow, really? I know a lot. I mean, being a musician myself, I mean that makes some sense. Being a musician and working on the radio myself, like that makes some sense. I've got what? Like how long have I been back in Ipsy? Like 6 or 7 years radio experience. Uh Sporadically, like guest DJ at um goth and new wave nights and all that. I plus a musician. Like it makes sense that I would know a lot of musicians, but at the same time, it's just like, whoa, what the shit? Like it really kind of like hit me in the face that day. But
Stabbing was also straightforward. Stabbed your wife, hit the body. All the other, however, the police came to investigate, you had to tell them lies to get them away. After that, you would go on with your normal life, do work, etc. However, at any given time, the police could investigate again for the body. I think there was a big story slash action scene afterwards, but I can't remember after a certain amount of time. Since I probably stopped playing since I was a kid back in the day, I hope this is enough to go by. One interesting detail about this post now is that he mentioned a drowning scenario, and remember, one of the other
I know people are probably going to judge me harshly for it, since a lot of people seem to do that. But I'm like this close to going onto Reddit and seeing if anybody either A wants to give me a drive, to and from Tecumseh themselves, or B is willing to help me out as far as money to hire a Lyft driver for the purpose. Because yeah, like even if I hadn't gotten, the extra yarn I needed to finish this here, I would not have the money, so it's like
another Redditor named IDLeaf33 collected some of the more informative comments in Nexpo's video. There's a bunch that you can see on r/that evil farming game, but I want to focus on the ones that have what I think are the most promising leads. One of the leads pertains to the word ash, the edgy website that was mentioned in the older Reddit posts. Okay, might be a stretch, but in 2008 to 2011, there was a shock site that was popular in my region, Balkans, that had a URL like Ashen Remains or Ashen Remains. It hosted metal songs, if I recall, and had shock videos of murders with metal music in the background. It was hosted with a Swedish or Russian domain, I think, and it wasn't a .com domain. It also had an abundance of ads. But lining up with the Reddit posts, it did have downloadable games which were indie developments. I remember playing a really cool monster truck game and a Mortal Kombat fan game. Hope this helps. Edit. A friend of mine told me that it's most likely Ashen Bones. The name Ashen Bones to me seems to trigger some kind of vague memory, but I don't really recall it clearly, and nobody on Reddit has been able to find either this website or an archive of it. A few other commenters pointed to it potentially being on a disc that was included with the gaming magazine. This was a really common practice at the time, and I used to love games with this in there. One commenter suggests that they played this game on a disc they got for PC Gamer. Another commenter suggested they were from Austria and played this game from a German magazine. As a result, a number of Redditors are currently pouring German game magazines and PC magazines at the time. There was even a user, Aaron2005X, who had a gigantic archive of German demo discs. Another Redditor named Zeri discovered a complete online archive of a German computer magazine, Computerville. People are currently looking through these archives, but as of now, no one has found the game yet. Finally, literally as I was about to go record this video, there was another new post by a Redditor named S. Rejak. He had a different account of this game that raises a few questions. Full disclosure, the next post video brought me here. Make of it what you will. I I have been searching for a game since at least 2010 that aligns near perfectly with the details given in previous posts. The consistent details. The game was created no later than 2004. I had it on a laptop prior to getting my first hour in Christmas of 2004. The game came from an Shetty 3 game website. Sorry, I don't remember the site. Ash doesn't strike a nerve. The game is isometric 2D top down. Zelda Link to the Past style player view. There's a cutscene upon starting a new game in which you murder everyone. There's a cutscene at the start of each day that progressively explains the backstory. I don't remember much about it other than a sour relationship. You spend the gameplay moving the corpse between field plots while avoiding police coming into contact with it. Details that have not been mentioned in relation to the game I'm searching for. The game had Reap in the title. Reap, the Reaping, Reboot, so something along those lines. Images are low quality pixel art, something you might see created in MS Paint. Cutscenes are single spread textless comic slash storyboard style images. The layout is a farmhouse slash barn on the left, 2x2 of square garden plots in the center, and a road on the right. The screen doesn't scroll. Farming is not the mechanic on display in the game. You use the corpse to fertilize crops in an attempt to decompose the body. If you under or over fertilize a plot, the plants will die and the plot becomes useless. Cops will come at random times to search fields. You must shoo them away from the field with the corpse. Likewise, you must not be holding the body and the cops stop to talk to you. As days progress, more cops come. The win condition is to fully decompose the body. Details that conflict with other testimonials. There is no fishing in the game. Outside of the start screen and cutscenes, the only other screen was the layout explained above. The focus was not on managing crops. There was a story device toward decomposing the body. There was planting and harvesting, but you didn't gain directly from it. The game had little to no text outside of the start screen that I recall, so it would be hard to use bad translations. And there's a few things we have to consider here. For starters, he said reap, which immediately makes you think back to that game Reap and Sow. But once again, that conflicts with the game he's describing, and when people showed him Reap and Sow, he said, no, that's not the game I remember. That being said, if this game does exist, I'd be willing to bet money that the title does, in fact, include the word reap. It's the perfect word to describe a game that combines farming and murder. A farmer reaps crops, but the personification of death is the Grim Reaper. It's incredible wordplay. You'd be stupid not to have the word in your title. And the contradicting elements of the story that he pointed out also make me think back to a theory that a few other posters had. Perhaps there's either two versions of the game or people are conflating two different games. Although the original posts claimed that this was definitely not a browser game, a number of people said they swear they played this on either Newgrounds or Conquer game. It wouldn't be completely unheard of for a Flash game to be made and then a more fleshed out, fully developed version to come out. But as of now, this is all the information we have about this game. As the story develops, I'll keep you updated. But until then, go check out my friend Nexpo, whose video that included this greatly signaled boost to the search. If you're not already familiar with this channel and you like mine, you'll definitely like his. Anyway, peace out. When I was researching my video about medieval farming game, I came across another game that I hadn't heard of, a game called Moirai. Although Moirai is a game where you take on the role of a farmer in a farming village and it does have horror elements, it is definitely not that evil farming game. Nonetheless, it seemed like a really cool game and I wanted to play it after finding out about it. But there's a problem. You see,
My
you can't play
phone
Moirai
keeps
anymore,
dying.
and the reason why is actually kind of sad.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter when you get him to me. Like I said, I've I kind of need something to. I kind of need to take the things that I made and intended to give as gifts. I need to get them out of my home, if only for the sake of getting them out. Because I did not make these things for myself. I made these to give away to members of my family.
And if you have the Lawnmower 2.0, all the blades are
And
interchangeable with this model. It has a powerful 7,000 RPM motor and the upgraded battery that lasts for up to 90 minutes. Now there's
my
anti-tuck
aunt
on
is
the other trim guards
74.
in case you want to make a topiary garden down there like a scissor hands.
Unless there's some kind of horrible accident of some sort, I am going to be the last of my family in terms of people with whom I grew up.
As a subscriber, you get 20% savings on your order instantly. A new replacement blade refill for your lawnmower trimmer delivered to your door every 3 months. And for limited time subscribers, get both the Shed Travel Bag and the Manscaped Anti-Chafing Boxer Briefs. Get 20% off and free shipping on the Perfect Package 3.0 with use code WANG at manscaped.com. Although Moirai isn't that farming game where you kill your wife and have to hide the body from the cops, it is a farming game that does involve a murder. But to tell the story of Moirai, we first have to take a look to its creator, an indie game developer named Chris Johnson.
Almost done with this stage.
Simple browser games that you can play on his website. Personally, I got completely sidetracked when I was making this video while playing his Gem Thief game. And during the early 2010s, Chris was spending most of his time developing another deceptively simple game, a game called Expand. Expand is a game where you traverse a dynamic, expanding circular maze. The object of the game is pretty simple: complete the maze without getting crushed. It's a seemingly easy task that gets more and more difficult as the game progresses. Chris invested all of his time, effort, and money into the development of Expand over the course of the next few years. It was an investment that he had hoped would propel his career as an indie game developer. And after several years of development, Expand would finally be released in September of 2015 on Steam. Although it received mostly positive reviews on Steam, it was far from being the success that Chris had hoped for. With how complex and demanding development of a game like Expand was, Chris would find himself often needing to take a break. He needed another project to work on, something to help reset his brain during the development of his game. His side project is called Moirai, and Moirai was another short and simple game. It begins when the people of this humble farming village tell you, a farmer, about a woman named Julia. Julia's husband had passed away the year prior, and now her son had gone missing in the nearby cave. Now Julia had gone missing, and moans were heard from the cave. Was it her? So you take it upon yourself to go searching in the cave for Julia, and very quickly you find another farmer covered in blood. And you can ask him some questions. What are you doing here? Why are you covered in blood? Why do you have a knife? To which he might respond something like, Brother, I just elbow dropped King Kong Bundy to Hulkamania. Spare me to join Hulkamania, be like me, Hulk Hogan. So why the fuck does Hulk Hogan exist in the canon of the farm game? Well, you see, this part of the game is completely different for everybody who played it. What have you done? How to finish this game? What? What the hell are you talking about? What have you done?
I've masturbated and spread my cum over the dead body of a strange.
What? How could that be possible? Where are these answers coming from? Well, let's keep on going. So after you encounter the farmer, you wind up finding Julia in the cave. She's dying and covered in blood and asks you to put her out of her misery, which you can either decide to spare her or kill her. No matter what you choose, you wind up covered in blood, and then as you traverse back through the cave, you encounter another farmer. This farmer asks you the same questions that you asked the other farmer, but this time you can fill them out with whatever you feel like. Ask how you beat the game, talk about cum, talk about Hulkamania, anything goes. And when that's all done, you enter your name and your email address, and later on you'll get an email telling you what happened to your character. It was a pretty interesting social experiment wrapped up in a very simple game, and in an interview with PC Gamer, Chris explained his reasoning for doing this. From most players' perspective, when they run into the person in the cave for the first time, they think of them as an NPC, not an actual person. Moirai designer Chris Johnson told me, looking full metal. I think there's an interesting element to that. There's a certain codified language about how people approach games, and one of those things
I
is
lost
that
count of
most
these.
of the characters you'll interact with will be some pre-programmed thing, unless the game is explicitly a multiplayer one. I thought it was an interesting thing to subvert that expectation. You don't realize the other player is actually a player. You see them as an NPC. Joyride was quietly released in 2013 and received a modest amount of playthroughs. But in 2016, a year after the release of Expand, Chris decided he would also put Joyride up on Steam, and he did not expect what would happen next. The game goes extremely viral. You've got massive YouTubers like Jacksepticeye playing it on their channels, and everyone who watches him playing it putting it on their channels. The game wound up hitting #1 on Steam. And while it seems like this might be a very unlikely game to get that kind of attention, it's very obvious to me what the appeal of it is. You see a game like this, and you're like, A, how can I fuck with the other people who are playing this game? And B, how are these people going to try to fuck with me? Despite the simplicity of the game, every single playthrough was a unique experience, and it was free. But as Chris explained to CNET, this wasn't quite the dream it might have seemed for him. It was fucking awful. Johnson was utterly unprepared for Joyride's overwhelming success. Being an online project that required storage and server implementation, Johnson hadn't planned for the scale Joyride required, down to hundreds of thousands of people who were trying to play the game at once. Joyride had received roughly 40,000 playthroughs on other websites prior to the Steam launch, and the servers had held up. Johnson couldn't have predicted or prepared for the onslaught. Joyride's database crashed, almost instantly, and Johnson, who was spending Saturday with his family, was blissfully unaware until he arrived home later that night. In that short space of time, Joyride had gone from receiving glowing reviews from every corner of the internet to being called an email scam, all in a short 24-hour period. But despite all the stress, all the costs, being called a scam artist, and the fact that he was making absolutely no money on this game, Chris did everything he could to keep those servers online. And at the same time, a number of people have been reaching out to him, warning him of potential exploits in his database. He managed to fix some of these exploits, but realistically, he was just juggling too many plates at once. He simply did not have the time and resources to fix everything. And that's when it happened. And that's when it happens. His database becomes flooded with tens of thousands of new entries. He tries to get rid of them, but then thousands more pop up. There's just no way for him to keep up. It clearly wasn't that this many people were playing the game, but rather that someone was trying to bring the game down, and this person left some clues. The entries flooding Moirai's database referenced a username, and that username was a link to a YouTube page. Weird. On the About page, multiple references to Johnson. The YouTube page linked through to a Twitter account littered with posts about Johnson, about the failure of Expand, about his abilities as a developer, derogatory tweets aimed at Johnson specifically. It was almost like the person who hacked Moirai was being betrayed. And it got even worse when the hacker went to the Steam forums and shared the script he was using to attack Moirai. At this point, Chris realized that it was futile. There was just absolutely nothing he could do to keep this game up. So he took the game down and left this message. Moirai is no longer available to play. Thank you to everyone for taking an interest in our little game. Chris, John, Brad. After the game was taken down, Chris received the message. Hello. Johnson recognized the username. It was the same person who posted the script on his forums, the script he used to take down Moirai's servers. The same person who had hacked and destroyed Moirai. He tracked Johnson down and messaged him for attention? Johnson prodded. Pause. Yes, I'm looking for attention. Johnson was baffled. He asked the only question he could think to ask about it. What did you think of the game? An awkward conversation ensued, and the hacker gave a tidbit of his identity. As it turns out, the hacker was also a game developer. He asked Chris if he wanted to play his game. Chris declined, and that's the end of familiarized. I think there's a lot of lessons to be had in this story. As a creator, sometimes you'll have these projects that you pour everything into, you all your time, all your money, all your effort and expectations, and it just never catches on the same way as something you did for shits and giggles. There's stories of that you can see across just about every single medium. And then there's the lesson that if it's possible for somebody to fuck with something, someone's gonna fuck with it. Maybe they shouldn't fuck with it, but unfortunately we do not live in should world. But anyway, best of luck to Chris, who does continue to develop games to this day. But that's all for now. If you like this video, you'll probably also like Wavy Webster's video about the Flappy Bird. Goodbye.
Okay, okay.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I am not all used to being up at this time. But it's up this time. I was thinking I wanted to stream right now. So I was like, you know what? Let's just play some fucking Manhunt. I tried like 3 different fucking ways to get Manhunt going, to like it to actually work properly. So the first thing I did, I got the Steam version. And the thing about the Steam version is apparently like I can't run it windowed or whatever the hell. Oh, I guess that's not really. I can't run it windowed normally. About there's like all kinds of like things you gotta do. Oh, what is that? What is it? Chat something to the fucking phone. Yeah, so you gotta do all kinds of like weird shit to get the game running properly on Windows in a way that I can actually stream it. So the next step was try to emulate it. And then every time I got it started, it would just fucking crash. So then finally I found, oh, they put it out on PS4. So I can finally play PS4. I mean, I can finally play Manhunt. I can play this. God, this game came out in 2000. This is not really good.
Movie that is often described as die-hard set in a school shooting. The movie is part of the Daily Wire's attempt to release the world of entertainment, according to an article written by one of the Daily Wire co-founders, Ben Shapiro. We're going to be bringing out movies, edgy, entertaining, awesome movies that won't honk your values. We're going to be producing TV shows, comedies, and dramas that take you seriously, that don't take advantage of your viewership to promote leftist causes. The Daily Wire is currently developing one feature and 2 TV series, though no specific details about those have been announced. Heartedly, desperately hopes they're adapting the works of Ben Shapiro for the screen. Sadly, Run, Hide, Fight was not inspired by the works of Ben Shapiro. In fact, this film was produced completely independently of the Daily Wire's new initiative, and their only attachment to Run, Hide, Fight is its distributor. There are no grim, dreadhawk glorious heroes or drug dealers posing as civil rights activists. Instead, we have a simpler story of a teenage girl who has to gun down her classmates after they try to shoot up their school. An action movie using a school shooting as a backdrop doesn't scream leftist values, so I can see why they chose this as the first film to distribute. The article also echoes an important lesson learned from Patrick Breitbart, who Shapiro was inventor. This movie, handed by the is, according to Shapiro, is fighting back against the left, who supposedly dominate the major institutions of the entertainment industry. According to Jeremy Boring, co-CEO of the Daily Wire, this is a gut-wrenching film that refuses to offer easy talking points, which is why liberal Hollywood executives have refused to distribute it. The trailer had a very strong reaction on YouTube, with nearly 1.5 million views within its first 2 weeks of lineup. The movie takes its survival tactic recommended to people and instructing them on how to survive being in mass shootings. This weird, cheesy training video is on YouTube and has over 9 million views.
Oh,
Run,
God.
Hide, Fight made its North American debut on January 14th in a streaming event hosted on the Daily Wire website and YouTube. According to Fawr, the stream had over 70,000 viewers. The more important question: how was it? The plot is very easily summarized. High school senior Zoe Hall, played by Isabel May, is disengaging from her life following years of the passing of her mother. On going to school, her day is interrupted by the arrival of four school shooters who take some of their classmates hostage in the cafeteria. The shooters live stream the hostage situation while Zoe first runs, hides, and then fights. She takes out each of her three cronies before killing their ringleader and leaves final peace. Not exactly a plot-filled with surprising twists and turns, and one completely predictable for anyone who saw the trailer. In spite of the subject material, this is a movie that very safely follows the action movie formulas. School shootings are indeed a rare topic in films. There are several of them out there, such as Elephant, We Need to Talk About Kevin, Polytechnique, and a handful of others. They often take artistic approaches you don't typically see in mainstream movies. The very real horror of the school shooting seems to demand filmmakers use unorthodox methods to broach the subject. Or maybe it's just the subject that attracts filmmakers whose talents don't fit into the mainstream mold. But this is not one of those movies. Throughout its run, Run, Hide, Fight feels like a popcorn movie, which is a strange experience considering the subject matter. It seems to be asking the audience to compartmentalize the very real tragedy of the school shooting, put all that baggage aside, and watch the movie as a complimentary gift. The idea of ignoring the tragedy of a school shooting, at least insofar in wanting to discuss it politically, is often a project of the right. Whenever a school shooting happens, conversations about gun control are immediately silenced, and at best you might get some token discussion about mental health. Discussion that isn't terribly helpful, considering most mental health conditions don't result in school shootings. In fact, the vast majority don't. What we're more likely to hear are refrains about not wanting to disrespect who represents by politicizing a tragedy. In other words, don't consider any potential political action that might reduce the possibility of future school shootings. With that in mind, it's unsurprising that a conservative audience might be more capable of compartmentalizing a phenomenon that right-wing media rarely critically examines. School shootings are something to be prepared for, but are also something that we're supposedly unable to actively prevent. Movies like this seem to be suggesting that school shootings, a rarity outside of the last few decades, are now part of the new normal. So we might as well make some action. This movie has a hero, Zoe Hall, which is a rarity for movies about school shootings. After all, if the purpose of the film is to explore the tragedy, a hero who prevents said tragedy seems counterproductive. In this case, the movie tries to have it both ways, featuring a number of students being killed at the beginning of the hostage situation. Also, unlike other movies about school shootings, in the opening scene of the movie, the impending school shooting is foreshadowed with heavy-handed dialogue.
You're recording Peter's summer. No way. Yeah, give the gym a shot before reality kicks in. Nice.
Jump scares.
Okay.
And two different explosions. This is not a subtle film. Zoe is one of those strange-looking characters who happens to be the only one in the movie with functioning eyes. I notices something slightly off during the day, such as the smoke from an explosion moving across the sky. Strangely though, Zoe completely misses the beginning of the school shooting. It unfolds with the quartet of shooters crashing their van into the cafeteria and firing off a machine gun. Zoe, who is in the cafeteria washroom, can't hear any of this over what must be the loudest hand dryer in the history of mankind. And no one else at school hears it either. Classes go about normally. While I can't speak to the structure of high schools in rural Nebraska, I have to imagine someone would hear a van smashing into the cafeteria and a machine gun fire that followed. We then meet the villains of the movie. The leader, Tristan, played by Eli Brown, is instantly unlikable as he acts like a cheesy action movie villain. I suppose we're meant to hate him, but I just want him off my screen. Tristan has a master plan to shoot at the school. You see, those explosions earlier were planted by him and his pals to distract the cops. They then disable the school's internal systems, arrange a live stream, and plant even more explosives around the school. These are surprisingly competent school shooters. If this nefarious plot sounds a little familiar to you, it's probably because Tristan also happens to be the Joker. This
Oh.
scene is very similar
Oh, that's
to
all right.
Dark
It's
Knight.
if you gotta go to bed, hey Shaker, that's totally good. And you were with us for however long, so well, Steampunk Act. Holy crap! How have I not noticed him?
Fair though, someone did try to
Oh, thanks. I do like my hair. I do find it one of my favorite features of my own weird body.
Okay, everybody watching is culpable. You all post and you tweet and you share. Everybody jumps at the chance to be both judge and jury, but in that system, created a job opening. An executioner. You created me.
What does it for you?
Being definitive. Creating the ultimate version of something.
The only interesting thing about Tristan is that here a few times we had a cheesy joke about trigger warnings.
Trigger warning.
He laughs at how inept school security is without a gun.
As if it's not sad enough that they're only paying you $12 an hour to protect our school, they expect you to do it without a gun?
And we get this little nugget to seal it.
It's not that hard to build a wall.
We get Film's protagonist and her love interest, Lewis, played by Holly Shelton. I can't help but think that if this movie hadn't been distributed by the Daily Wire, we'd be hearing cries of Mary Sue and forced diversity. We'd probably hear some anger over all the villains being white too. That is, if anyone would care about this movie to begin with. Going back to the school shooters though, each of them is surprisingly uninteresting. Anna is Tristan's girlfriend, and that sums up her whole character. Oh, and she smokes weed, I guess that's Then we have Kip, played by Cyrus Arnold, who fell under Tristan's sway because someone pulled his pants down in front of the whole school a couple years ago. Kip has a baffling redemption arc where a 2-minute talk from Zoe leads him to betraying Tristan. He still ends up dying though, albeit so we can buy Zoe a few moments to escape a tight spot. Most tragic though is Chris, played by Britton Sear. He's Anna's brother and apparently also romantically involved with Tristan. I'm not sure how the dynamics of this relationship work, but more importantly, Chris has some kind of severe mental health condition. The movie never says what exactly, but it seems like schizophrenia. He's one of those characters who's less a character and more just a collection of symptoms. It makes him an easy tool to use by Tristan, until he's eventually shot by Zoe's father, played by Thomas Jane. He was hanging around outside the school with a sniper rifle because that's what Army does, I guess. Chris is easily one of the worst depictions of someone with mental health condition I've seen in quite a while. You might notice that all the antagonists are paper thin with weak or no motivations at all. That's because a big part of this movie's intent, according to the director Kyle Rankin, was to not glamorize the shooter. The fact that this movie could only shift focus away from the shooter by creating a completely artificial scenario that let a hero step in speaks to how removed from reality this whole movie is. Which is especially ironic because many of the positive reviews I've read for this movie, and even comments in post-movie discussion, highlight the realism of it. One of Zoe's early encounters with one of the shooters is when Anna gets the drop on her as Zoe is trying to warn classrooms about the shooting in the cafeteria. Zoe is shot in the leg, but still somehow manages to get the drop on Anna, turning her own gossamer. The movie keeps going for a good 40 minutes after Zoe has been shot, as she runs around the school, takes out the other shooters, and saves her classmates. A teacher at one point, instead of telling her student, who has a gunshot wound by the way, to get the safety and maybe get medical attention, instead goes with her on her mission. Somehow this is meant to be realistic. I think more likely the conservative audience, obviously curated from the Daily Wire readers, are seeing a version of reality they would rather was true, instead of the more tragic reality of what happens in an actual school shooting. What I found most objectionable, the part where this movie fully devolves into psycho territory, happens in its final minutes. It's a callback to the opening scene where we can see Zoe and her father hunting a deer. The deer is mortally wounded but not killed, and as Thomas Jane delivers a monologue about putting an animal out of its misery, Zoe smashes a rock on the deer's head to reveal she is a troubled person still dealing with the recent death of her mother. In the final moments of the movie, we find out Tristan has given a constant slip and is slowly sneaking away from the scene of the crime. Even though dozens of kids have seen his face and his only disguise is an orange baseball cap, he never makes it out. It's only Zoe who spots him. In Instead of telling the cops about it, she grabs her dad's rifle, stalks Tristan, and then shoots him like a wild animal. As he bleeds out, she walks towards him, repeating her mother's monologue from the first scene about putting an animal out of its misery, but instead of smashing the railgun Tristan's head,
It is just the right to let it say.
Zoe's transformation in this movie is to go from troubled teen mourning, pulling away from life, to the hero fully engaged with life, who also happens to enjoy watching villains suffering a miserable death. There's something disturbing and sadistic about a movie like this. In the hands of a more competent filmmaker, the ending could have highlighted how even being a hero in a school shooting creates a trauma that shatters all the good and passion out of a person. The ending would be tragic, even if it seemed like justice. But in this film, Zoe's path is presented as righteous, and her growth is framed as something to be celebrated. She's letting go of the pain of losing her mother and finding a reason to live in helping people. But no one was helped in this final scene. It was her impetus with doling out her own brand of justice. Much like the death of Kim, who is on the path to redemption, the movie seems to be operating under the idea that committing these crimes requires a swift punishment. In this case, a death sentence. It certainly falls in line with an earlier scene where a religious student, who only speaks in the scene, has a moment with Tristan.
Free will. God allows the wicked to do their wickedness
Oh yeah, why's that?
so they can be judged.
Tristan's death is supposed to be viewed as an act of justice. To me, it only reads tragically. This movie, for all its errors of being popular entertainment, with vague allusions to heroism in the face of tragedy, can't escape the sad truth that even in some kind of absurd power fantasy, a school shooting will still end in tragedy. And the movie's veneer of justice being served reveals a shallow excuse for how tragedies scar the survivors. If this movie had been deliberately moving to this ending on that somber downbeat note, it might have won me over. But as it is, this feels like
Oh,
attempting to salvage
Raven's back.
on the night of its North American premiere, after the movie screened,
Ah,
short discussion with one of
yeah,
the
I'm
producers felt
doing
and
mostly all right. I got out a lot of the
something that was incredibly apparent
stuff I'd been
the motivations were for the shooters.
feeling
Conversation we find out
way earlier in the stream, and I mean, I've got a plan. Unfortunately, the plan needs in the area of $100 so that I can go visit my family, because there's no Amtrak or even Greyhound anymore running between here and Lenawee County, and still very... Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Yeah, I gotta go down and visit my sister's mother and our aunt, and um, get the info from sister's mom that I need for this wrongful death suit I plan to file. And like I said, I'm hoping that like to just like cover the expenses, and like the legitimate debts that my sister had, like including like any bills that had fallen behind and all of that, and just have a modest like $5,000 left over so that my niece can have something when she turns 21 that will
Even though we know very little about the character, the fact that we know so little reveals how little attention
um
is paid to the inner lives of teenagers in general. The movie is
that will be there for her.
I believe to people like the shooters, and perhaps more importantly, to value the quiet people around who sadly let fade into the background unless they become the base of a tragedy. We'll never know what kindness or beauty might have been within a character like Michelle.
Doing well, just chilling.
The moment where Michelle is killed contains so much more
4 years
tragedy
ago,
than the first teen killed in Ruadhán fight. The first teen killed in Ruadhán fight
Call Me,
is,
which was
frankly,
weird and
the retire of the band. Well, it's never really
that's interesting. Huh.
didn't run over anybody. We don't know his name or the name of the girl who shot right after him or this guy.
I find myself thinking about an old
This is a movie that focuses
on again, off again
but clearly
booty call that I knew, like, how old am I now? Something like 15 years ago. Son of a bitch. Why did my life turn into decades? But oh gosh, I don't even remember his name.
It's trivially easy to explain how other movies that depict school shootings provide more thoughtful depictions of the shooters. I could highlight, for instance, Monrag's 2007 movie Class, where a bully befriends his victim and their friendship fuels school hostilities, leading them to murder their classmates. Or I could talk about Matthew Johnson's 2013 movie The Dirties, where a teenage boy's outsider status and obsession with movies detach him from reality, eventually leading to tragedy. Movies like these two make genuine attempts to examine the psychology of school shooters and the impact alienation from their peer group has on them. Run, Hide, Fight gives us very little in the way of backstory for any of the students, aside from Kim. And in that case, it seems to have precision and creativity. If anything, the film deliberately avoids this type of bend for its characters to prevent the audience from feeling any sympathy for them. Boring and Shapiro actually hit it on the head when they say this.
You really put kind of an unflinching look at the evil. Yeah.
With regard to the shooters, this movie is trying to display the evil they represent as something inherent and not the product of circumstances. Again, echoing the statements of the religious character earlier on, evil actions are permitted by God so that the evildoers can be judged. What made them evil to begin with is never considered. This reminds me very much of a comment made during the 2008 American election. The candidates at the time were Barack Obama and John McCain, and they were both asked about evil. Obama gave a long-winded response about understanding evil, the actions we take to confront it, and how trying to stop what we consider evil can have consequences we would also consider evil. It's kind of convoluted. You can read it here if you're curious. John McCain's response, though, was much more terse. His response to what should be done about evil was to say, defeat it. I think this represents two fundamentally different ways to look at the concept of evil. The labels applied to a person, Ben Shapiro, the rest of the Daily Wire crew, and the movie Run, Hide, Fight clearly fall into the latter camp. School shooters aren't meant to be something
Wait. So when I put money on Q card to give you, I send it to you through PayPal, right? Oh, if you were thinking of sending me any funds to try and visit my aunt and my sister's mom in Tecumseh, if not this weekend, then next weekend. Yeah, PayPal. There's the PayPal link. PayPal.me slash Ruadhán, Ruadhan, or because that takes a small fee. You can Halo 1334, so HALO 1334 at outlook.com, and mark it as a gift, so that way it won't incur a fee.
They are also convinced that the reasons they didn't make it is because conservatives are forbidden into the halls of Hollywood. But we could play the silly game of counting big conservative stars, such as Clint Eastwood. It's probably better to look at the creative writing of Ben Shapiro and let that speak to why he and possibly his buddies didn't make it too far in Hollywood. With the knowledge of their creative limitations and some obvious bitterness in their critique, this whole endeavor has a different look to it. It seems less about providing entertainment to an underserved audience, rather an attempt to vindicate their own anger at the world of Hollywood, fighting back with their own movies created by conservatives. It very much has a "we'll show them" vibe to it. Although Kyle Rankin is vague about his political beliefs, his producer, Nelson Ye, is less cagey about it.
I stayed the same. The world went left, right? I stayed here. So I'm simply making the movies that I grew up loving.
And when describing the movie, they seem fairly comfortable with becoming embraced by a conservative audience.
If the marketplace or the audience determines that the movie is more conservative in its values or matrix or DNA, then so be it. That's fine with me.
there's an attempt to frame this movie as enjoyable by a wider audience that presumably doesn't just include conservatives. If so, it makes me wonder why the only way to see this movie is to become a member on the Daily Wire website, where you would have to pay $14 a month to watch it. You also get
Ew.
access to some other Daily Wire content, but unless you're a fan of conservative media, or like a conservative yourself, there isn't much value in that monthly fee. One thing it does do, though, is ensure that the audience for Ruadhán Fight will be primed to enjoy it. And not simply because they enjoy its quality, but because it's part of a grander project of fighting back movie culture against the left.
Entertainment that you can not only enjoy but be proud of, knowing that you helped change the culture. And ultimately, that's the key.
It also means the audience who determine the ratings on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb are becoming from a conservative audience who have been primed to enjoy the movie and likely maybe inflated. And negative reviews of the movie, well, those are brushed off as being product of the extreme left.
The voices on the extreme left have not been open. In fact, they've been almost resistant to it. In reviewing, when they review it, I don't want to ever single out an individual review because I don't like when filmmakers do that. But I saw a systemic sort of system in the reviews where it felt very much like a concerted effort to sort of review the subject matter and pursue politics rather than the actual movie.
I can understand the assumption that once the Daily Wire became involved, the way critics looked at this movie would be altered. Heck, I wouldn't be reviewing this movie at all had I not read the story about the Daily Wire's connection to it. But to brush off negative criticisms as coming from the extreme left or ignoring the quality of the movie is absolutely not true. I read every single review of this movie when it premiered at the Venice Film Festival in September of 2020. That's right, I read all 7 of them. Of those 7, 6 were negative. Jessica Kiang wrote, at literally no point in this weirdly lumbering, sluggish movie's narrative does its grotesque tastelessness ever appear to have occurred to anyone involved. David Ehrlich wrote, it's a movie made by someone who's seen too many movies and now made at least one too many as well. And from Guy Lodge, what would you do if film tastelessly needles its viewers throughout presenting the brawniest, most impulsive answer of the while? These reviews do make note of the subject matter, because how could you not, but only the context of how the film depicts it. The one positive review came from Christian Toto. If there is a message here, it's an honest, unpleasant one. Some children are broken as they near adulthood, a tragic lesson for them from real-life headlines. Question as to why those children are broken, though, is for superior reviews. This one just wants us to celebrate another childhood item. There's a Hunger Games vibe here. It's not just that this film name looks a bit like Jennifer Lawrence. It's that we in the audience are very much like the detached original leads who watch teenagers kill each other. At least we aren't doing it. We're doing it.
Okay, I'm asking.
In a brief behind-the-scenes documentary for the movie, many of the cast members shared their opinions that this movie might be positively read as a call to action, not for any sort of political action, of course, in the sense to
Oh wow.
inspire someone who might be in a similar situation.
Yeah.
More proactive, and it does take
The cleaning out and donating.
but to act proactively is going to save lives.
That's a recommendation that's so depressing. I can only hope they were desperately trying to find something constructive to say and hadn't had more than a few months to think about it. To be clear, I bear no ill will to any actor or even some of the crew who were involved in the making of the movie.
I'm glad that people are making friends in the chat while my stream is going.
A particular plot point for a line there was an explanation as to where these teenagers got a hold of so many guns. They had 2 pistols, a shotgun, and a machine gun. A machine gun is an MP40, which is what the Germans used during World War II, a not-so-subtle reminder that these are weaponized. The absence of any explanation for where these guns came from seems to me like an absolute refusal to even speak to the gun culture of the United States. Everyone has guns, even relics from World War II. This is just a fact of life. And the idea of teenagers who want to shoot up a school, perhaps, just perhaps, shouldn't be able to put together a cache of weapons is never really explored. The idea that there might be a problem with gun culture in the United States is just one more thing this film does not want us thinking about. It's ironic hearing the writer, director, or producer, anyone involved with this movie, talking about wanting to start a conversation or dialogue when this film seems entirely uninterested in presenting even the most basic starting point for a discussion. It was probably best summed up by, of all people, Matt Walsh, when following the screening, he said this.
First of all, it's escapism. So it's a movie that you watch and it's just entertaining and you feel like you're in it and you forget that you're watching a movie, which is what movies are supposed to be, and so often they're not these days.
The idea of a school shooting being fodder for escapism is a crazy thought, and it's something that should be upsetting by the nature of its rarity and seeming commonplace and regular and normal. It does nothing to even broach the hard questions of why school shootings happen, because this isn't something we should turn our brains off for. It does make heroes out of victims, though only those who stand and fight against their fellow classmates. It's an ugly burden to put on teenagers, and one
wish I
that's
had-
especially ugly when the movie's embrace.
Oh, Raven, I can't knit to save my life. My mother attempted to teach me, but she either she's a terrible teacher or there was something to her comment about my stubby fingers, or as Robot Devil would say, stupid fingers. Yeah, I don't know. I can't knit to save my life, but crochet I can just, I don't know. It's the one tool that you have. It just you're just like hooking loops into each other. And I don't know. It just comes more easily to me. And
as he feels his movies are apolitical, which is what conservatives happen to want. Speaking to the Wall Street Journal, he said, if we can make a movie that does not treat them as losers or ask how dare they vote a certain way or pander to them, naturally they're going to respond in a positive way. Originally, Ruadhán was supposed to launch some state's new Rebeller brand, but between the announcement of these plans in early 2020 and the present day in 2021, things radically changed. The major controversy hit the studio was regarding one of its producers, Adam Donaghy. Donaghy joined Cinestate in 2017, working as a line producer and executive producer on films The Stand Up and Sparrow Creek, VFW, and Satanic Panic. He was also one of the executive producers on Ruadhán Fight before his name was taken off the film a few months before its premiere. In late April of 2020, Donaghy was arrested for the sexual assault of a 16-year-old girl. Following this revelation, a number of allegations regarding sexual harassment became known to the wider public. The claim that this was a well-known secret within the local Dallas film scene. One of them included a conversation recorded by Kristen Leah Haynes from 2014, where she was working in the art department of the film Occupy Kansas at the time she was 21 years old.
I only know very basic knitting and like maybe 3 different crochet stitches.
There are multiple stories in the rest touching her proposition women on film sets, and he rarely seemed to face much in the way of consequences. The problem with Donaghy was that he was a line producer, and he was in charge of budgeting for the film. He also, in many cases, served as a source of financing for films. He was literally writing the checks of his movie accusers, and in cases where his actions were brought up to others, they were often minimized or dismissed. In 2017, Dallas Sunday and Amanda Presnick began partnering with Donaghy. In an article by the Daily Beast, 10 people claim to have directly reached out to the heads of Cinestate, Dallas Sunday and Amanda Presnick, with 4 of them offering the audio that Haynes recorded. Each of these people who approached Sonia and Presnick said that their reports fell on deaf ears. Both the producers claimed to have never heard the recording, and Sonia admonished Haynes for not making the report through official channels. When asked about the allegations against the studio, Sonia said he was largely unaware of them. Sonia told the Daily Beast, "We're under siege right now. Everyone involved has their own personal vendettas against us. They have a history of harassing us and having problems with us. It feels like a targeted hit, and it feels like an attack. I think people have real issues with us. They have issues with our success, with the amount of movies we've made, and in a short time built this company to be something very special. It feels partisan." When the allegations went public in mid-2020, 2 of the publications Cinestate owned, Fangoria and For Movies Death, parted ways with the company. He responded to learning about the Donnie situation, saying, I was blown away. When the news broke, it was sad and shocking. I believed Sensei that they didn't know about Adam's past and that they were working hard to restructure their company and have very safe sets. I knew that I ran very safe set. I knew my side of the street was clean. I thought I could stick around and affect some change. Though there are no direct allegations of sexual harassment on the set of the movie, concerns surrounding the production have been raised. Speaking to the Daily Beast, the film setting an assistant director, Kristen Haynes, who recorded Donnie sexually harassing her, said she joined production as a favor to a friend and because she needed the work. She said there was some really sketchy things going on that movie. Haynes, who was only on set a few days, was also assured that she would be kept far from Donnie. Several of the staff walked off the set, including the
Oh.
first assistant director, Nick Beebe, and key hair and makeup artist, Madeline Rose. In Rose's case, she mentions the reason for her departure had to do with the film's opening scene, where we see Zoe and her father hunting a deer. What bothered Rose about this scene was that this was no special effect. This was a very real deer that was shot on camera in the movie. She describes it. They hired a local hunter, went on his land, and filmed the deer being shot. Then they took the deer and froze it so they could pull it out again for close-ups with the actual actors. In the Daily Beast article, Sony agreed was the legal harvest of a registered buck, and that SAG after drugs with no issue with the incident. Rose voiced her concerns over the deer to Donnie, and she describes the encounter saying, he went off on me in a very condescending way. He got very heated and told me I was either with them or against them. Rose, who had been unfamiliar with the earlier allegations against Donnie, quit the film following the news. Although the deer incident was unknown to the Daily Wire crew when they purchased the rights to distribute this movie, Jeremy Bourne did speak to knowing about the incidents regarding Donaghy, having written earlier a Daily Beast article describing the history of sexual harassment and assault on sets Donaghy had worked in. Bourne said, to the extent that things may have taken place in the production of this film or another film, I don't think it's my business. In the same way, it's not my business if something takes place at any other kind of company that I buy product. I'm sure there have been allegations of sexual harassment at almost every major product company in the country. That doesn't mean the product itself has to be banned. Those things, to the extent that anything didn't happen under my knowledge. The Daily Wire's first foray into the world of entertainment is to ensure that the North American audience would have the chance to see a movie that would have likely gone straight to video on demand. Only instead of appearing on Stars or Hulu, Run, Hide, Fight is on the same streaming platform as video podcasts of Ben Shapiro complaining about the Babysitters Club show on Netflix.
For some of the Babysitters Club, this is a show for kids, right? Young girl lecturing a doctor on how to misgenerate. Okay, well, here's the thing. They better hope that Bailey was in the hospital for a fever here. They better damn well hope that Bailey aids in the hospital for testicular torsion.
And that seems like a perfect place for it. I'm honestly surprised at how much I had to say about this movie. When I watched it, it was surprisingly uninteresting. When I watched it again the following day, I was amazed at how much I had forgotten. It's surprisingly unmemorable as a movie. Not even in a so bad as amusing way, it's just sort of whatever. Your life will not have been enriched in any way for having watched it. One thing I didn't cover in the video were the horrible working conditions for Moffat's crew members. Moffat paid very low wage, and they were often asked to work very long hours. There was another incident where an older actor was considered too expensive to replace right after he sexually harassed someone in the makeup department, including trying to grow one of them. According to one of the people involved, Sonier's response was to suggest that's not the women started using the buddy system. There were other stories that people who had known the record and worked for the source, but overall, they seem like a pretty shady company. In other words, a perfect fit for the Daily Wire. I want to thank all my lovely patrons and members whose names are scrolling up on the screen here. If you'd like to become one of them, you can either head over to my Patreon, click the join button, and pledge $5. That'll get your name in the credits, early access to videos, and downloads for my theme songs. And if you'd like to help in a way that doesn't cost you anything, like, comment, and subscribe, also hit the bell. Thank you everyone for watching. 2017, the internet told me that the comic book story Secret Empire was really bad. Then I read it and found out the internet was wrong. So let's talk about why this series was so great. In 1941, Captain America was first seen on the cover of Captain America Comics #1, punching out Hitler and capturing the minds of comic readers across the country. Created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, his stories of fighting against fascism were simple and effective ways of communicating that America would not bend to this hateful ideology. When World War II ended, Captain America tried fighting the communists instead, but that didn't really catch on, so his comics faded away. In 1964, in the fourth issue of the Avengers comic, history got a bit of a rewrite as Captain America was revived and the president had been frozen in ice during World War II. His partner, but was thought to have died in the same explosion that sent Captain America into the icy Arctic Ocean. Over the years, Captain America would go on to have a number of adventures, many of which involved hideous transformations, like that time he became a werewolf, or when he had that stupid iron suit on, or most horrifying of all, when he was drawn by Rob Liefeld. One of the transformations that garnered some of the most blowback was in 2015 when Marvel decided to turn Steve Rogers, well known for punching Nazis in the face, into a secret member of Hydra, or as some people put it, they turned him into a Nazi. Here are a few of their reactions. Why are you telling me that Captain America wants all of my people to die? I have passion for how much I hate what you've done. 75 years of a character that you just defaced. It's repulsive. You made an anti-Nazi soldier originally created by Jewish writers and Nazi sympathizer. Can you not see how disgusting that is? And here's one reaction from a writer at Mashable. It trivializes the importance of the Holocaust and the murder of millions of people and its impact on early comic creators. People didn't like it. Part of the backlash against this plot point, and not really the story itself, is that making Captain America a Nazi gave a hero figure to the original right, and essentially ceded a symbol of anti-fascism to the fascists. I think this is a fair criticism, and I fully acknowledge that I'm sitting in a very privileged position of being a few years into the future here, and looking back at the story out of its original context, we can safely say that the character of Captain America has not been completely gobbled up by the alt-right. He's well and alive in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, cartoons, toys, etc. He's still the flag-waving American icon he always was. What I think this outrage missed out on is that this story is making a very anti-fascist statement, one that was missed in the rage of the Marvel event frenzy, amidst the storm of poor marketing decisions and an author who gained a reputation, either deserving or not, of being antagonistic on social media. The backlash against this story meant that it was one of the lowest selling and arguably one of the most poorly received that Marvel has ever produced. And buried in that rage and disappointment happens to be a country that's pretty damn good. Before we talk about this Marvel Comics event, we should first talk about what event comics are. In the broadest sense of the term, event comics feature characters from a shared universe appearing outside of the titles in special limited
Feel the party
series.
starting now that Raven's here.
As some last
Hell yeah, and that's how we Southerners
Austrian
pronounce
power
hell.
Marvel Comics pioneered these
Nice.
first with a prototype 3-issue series called Marvel Superheroes Contest of Champions, which was Marvel's first ever limited series. But the event comic format was better
That'd be the first
exemplified
thing you
by
line
Infinity
up.
Wars, Marvel Superheroes, Secret Wars,
I bet
a
you
12-issue
I
limited
have
series
more
by Jim Shooter,
teeth than
Mike Zeck, and Bob
32
Layton.
people
This
here.
series was
But
created
oh
with the
gosh,
noble artistic goal of
it's not
celebrating
due to
actually
genetics.
human
It's
power. This series was a flimsy excuse to have
oh
superheroes
shit.
and villains who don't usually run into each other fight.
I
In this case,
don't
the
even know.
cosmic kingdoms, the Yonder
Yeah.
transports the heroes and villains to an artificial planet called
Bet that not
Battleworld,
everyone
demanding that
lies
they fight for the
to
fate
their
of the universe.
booth
In the end, the
about
good guys
their
win, and
age.
readers realize they just
Oh
wasted 8
gosh.
hours of their life on a crummy story. The series
How
is the most
sweet
known
they do
comic in
like
Marvel
and
for
lied to
kind
me
of money.
3
The
times
Spider-Man
about it.
is also one costume, which he totally ripped off from Spider-Woman.
Just maybe don't lie and say
Marvel
you're
followed up on Secret
26,
Wars with the appropriately titled Secret Wars 2.
but you're actually
It
30s.
was even worse than the first one, if you can believe it. Marvel went on to release more of these event
Oh
comics in the
gosh.
future. A lot. So many more that it's starting to get ridiculous. The reason these comics do so well is that they typically combine the readership of multiple titles in a story that will supposedly have lasting effects on the characters involved. Spider-Man's cool new costume stuck around for a while, and eventually it became the overrated villain Venom. Annihilation Conquest gave us the cool version of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Infinity Gauntlet not only spawned a wave of cosmic titles for Marvel, but eventually served as the foundation for the MCU's meta-narrative about the Infinity Stones. So event comics are a pretty big deal. And event comics can sometimes be political, such as the massively popular Civil War, which had Iron Man and Captain America fighting over civil rights, in this case whether or not superheroes should have their identities registered with the government. An interesting comparison between privacy and security. In the spirit of that comic, we have 2017's Secret Empire, an event comic that was incredibly divisive and criticized for being too
Divisive.
But before we delve into that, let's take a look at the story that inspired Secret Empire. The Secret Empire supervillains first appeared in 1981, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. But it's their appearance in the storyline 8 years later that would partially inspire the Secret Empire event of 2017. Created in 1974 by Stan Lee, the original Secret Empire storyline takes place in Captain America and the Falcon, and happened in the real-world context of the collapsing Nixon administration. Englehart, watching this unfold, decided to subversively refer to it in the comic book storyline. This is from an interview a few years ago where he was discussing the storyline. There's no way Captain America could not react to something this momentous in America if the Marvel Universe was supposed to be the real universe. So I came up with my disguised version of the situation, much simpler than the actual situation, but it was a storyline that would cover the feel of the whole thing. The storyline begins in Captain America and Falcon number 169, with Captain America the target of a media campaign to undermine him as an American hero, fueled by a shadowy group framing Cap for murder. The Secret Empire, with its connections to the media, are pulling strings under the watchful eye of their leader, number 1. The Secret Empire set up a lot of stonecutters on the Simpsons. So while the stonecutters was correct in Steve Gutenberg's star, the Secret Empire's plan was to kidnap mutants and use their energy to make an alien invasion that would lead them to conquer the United States. The story ends as Captain America, with some help from Falcon and the X-Men, takes down the Secret Empire, only to learn that number 1 was secretly Richard Nixon. The final moments feature an out-of-frame Nixon blowing his brains out and Cap being disillusioned that someone with the highest office in the land would use it to accrue even more power for himself. In the following issue, number 176, which occurs right after Nixon killed himself, Captain America is aware that as just a man, he can't possibly embody an entire country, and he decides to give up on that, disillusioned with the government and unwilling to fight for what he now sees as a sham. One small thing I'd like to point out in the story is this panel here. Racial stereotypes can be read in more than one way. The literal sense they are that people of the world looking at Captain America as a guide to what America is. But notice the country behind all of them. These people could just as easily be American themselves. And in a way, Cap is realizing that he doesn't necessarily represent them either. In the Secret Empire story itself, we see Cap's allies in Spider Falcon, who gets his wings for the first time thanks to Black Panther, and the X-Men, all of them parts of marginalized groups. When Captain America finds out that mutants are being hunted, used to fuel the Secret Empire, it's a very comic book metaphor for how preying on marginalized groups can fuel a fascist movement. Cap wasn't just failed by his government, he also lost touch with the American people in this story, not only because of the media's portrayal of him, but the very real threat one of its vulnerable communities, mutants, was facing. People hated mutants, they were ready to turn on him. For a brief moment, he was understanding what it felt like to be a persecuted person in his home country. He was getting a glimpse of the underbelly of the Northern versus America, and it was an ugly place. The plot of the 1974 Secret Empire storyline doesn't connect to the 2017 event of the same name, but you'll see some of these themes of fascism, racism, and disillusionment with America come up again. And I wish we could go straight into the event, but since this is comic books we're talking about, we need even more background. It's tough to choose a starting point for the road to Secret Empire, but since this event comic was written by Nick Spencer, I'm going to start with the first of his comics to delve into the character of Captain America, and that's the title Captain America Sam Wilson. Superhero comics are, let's see, course, since this is a crossover, various characters show up in the midst of drama going on in their own comics, so I'm going to be dropping details every now and then that might make you wonder what the hell is going on. If I don't go into backstory, you can assume it doesn't matter in the context of Secret Empire, and we're going to get into the messy backstory pretty much right away. If you're one of the millions of people who have watched the Captain America movies, the Avengers movies, or have been part of the culture, you might be wondering what's up. The original Captain America is this guy, Steve Rogers, but at this period in comic history, Rogers has been turned into an old man and has passed the mantle of Captain America to his former partner, Sam Wilson. Also
Oh, yes. Congratulations on the kiddo. Oh, my gosh.
Captain America didn't debut in Captain America Sam Wilson #1, but rather All New Captain America #1. We don't need to talk about those comics because it isn't until the Captain America Sam Wilson title that things start getting political. Very political. As Wilson's story opens, we're plunged into a number of social topics that are thinly veiled commentaries, and sometimes not veiled at all, of the political landscape of 2015's America. One of the villains he takes on are the Sons of the Serpent, who are kidnapping people crossing the US-Mexico border.
Attention all trespassers. I am the Supreme Servant. I invaded this sovereign land to defy the laws of God, nature, and the United States Constitution. Therefore, I hereby apprehend you by the power vested in me by the acclamation of God, nature, etc., etc.
Please, whoever you are, we don't want any trouble.
I see you there. I can see trouble with you already. Trouble in the sea, rising heavy on your backs.
Leave us alone.
God knows we've tried, but until these mighty walls built, you come here for employment that is rightfully ours. And if denied it, you seek welfare paid by our tax dollars. Also, you know how we wrestle about funding positions with you with every call from a satellite provider? That is something I cannot abide.
So yeah, there are some politics in this comic. And I probably don't need to spend much time explaining which side of the spectrum they're on. Perhaps the most amusing part of this story was seeing Fox News come to the defense of the guys in the snake outfits.
Well, comic books have been struggling to get readership, and here you have Marvel doing a little bit of a PR stunt. In fact, they've made Sam Wilson, who was formerly the Falcon, he's an African American. He's taking over as Captain America now, but he's got a new odd enemy. Instead of going against Hydra, the typical Captain America villains, he's going up against conservatives. That's his new enemy. The Serpent is an American who has misgivings about unlimited illegal immigration and the costs associated with it. Whereas that, according to the comic book, is evil.
The first issue ends with Sam Wilson, who came to protect the people helping the Sons of the Serpent, being arrested. Well, technically not arrested, just being asked to stand side by Steve Rogers, a former Captain America and now major player in the law enforcement agency, S.H.I.E.L.D. This final splash page is an interesting version of the relationship between the two friends, formerly partners. Rogers becomes something of a mentor figure trying to guide Wilson as the new Captain America. But in a few months, Rogers will transform into an uglier version of himself, and this page where it looks like Rogers is trying to undermine Wilson, but is actually helping him, is completely reversed. It's some simple but effective foreshadowing. As Wilson's series moves along, he touches up a number of other political issues. I'm going to highlight a few of my favorites. Longtime Captain America villains, the Serpent Society, are rebranded as Serpent Solutions, a consulting firm for big businesses. They give corporate America a new option, hiring genuine supervillains to do their dirty work.
Today's businesses face little bad, oppressive regulation at the hands of an overreaching government. I mean, where in the Constitution is anyone promised clean air anyhow? Sounds to me like free market demand for filtration systems and gas masks. Someone has to stand up for the job creators and innovators who we found at humanity. Someone has to make America marvelous again. And I say, I'm just a supervillain in a spacesuit to do it.
Perhaps most distressing about the storyline, though, is that even after Wilson takes down the Serpents, he realizes he can't take out their rich capitalist benefactors unless the whole economy go down with them. The phrase, too big to fail, should be ringing in your ears right now. What this hollow victory showed Wilson is the limitations of being Captain America. Sure, he can punch the guy in the snake suit a couple of times. There might be something fun about seeing this jerk get punched, but the only way to solve the problem is to reform the system. It's a theme that comes up again and again in this title. The system is broken. Take another story about the Whisperer, an anonymous whistleblower wanted by the US government for revealing state secrets. It's not a stretch to figure out that this is based on Chelsea Manning or Edward Snowden. You can take your pick there, and the story ends with Will's refusal to the Whisperer being taken to trial, a trial that would ultimately send him to prison, regardless of the net good performed by his actions. Wilson wants Captain America to be more than a symbol of American idealism, whereas Steve Rogers has faith the system will work. Samuel's looking for hope that it will, because he's seen it fail far too many times. And this brings us to something that really shouldn't be a political question, but somehow has to be. Samuel's is a black man, and sometimes a werewolf. But in this series, he's mostly a black man. In response from the citizens of the Marvel Universe to Captain America being black, there it is. A big part of this series is Wilson asking himself the question if he should care if a huge chunk of America will never accept him. As Wilson is finding his way in the role of Captain America, we have a minor event called Standoff, where it's revealed that S.H.I.E.L.D. has been using fragments of the Cosmic Cube to bend reality to create a rehabilitation center for supervillains. The Cosmic Cube may be more familiar as the Tesseract from the Marvel movies. It's a powerful item that lets the wielder change the nature of reality. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s plan, under the guidance of its director, Maria Hill, of course falls apart. In the ensuing fracas, one of the cube shards is used to turn Steve Rogers into a young man again, and unbeknownst to the rest of the world, it also turns him into a fascist. This is revealed in the other major comic we need to discuss, Captain America Steve Rogers. Yes, there were two Captain America comics running at the same time. The series opens up with a staple of each issue. These are flashbacks to Rogers' life growing up in the 1920s and 30s. What was once the uneventful story of a boy whose brain could match his heart is now a much more disturbing narrative for Ruadhán's abusive father, and learn that he and his mother fell into the open arms of Hydra under the watchful eye of Lisa Sinclair. Hydra is, arriving in the present, guided by Red Skull, a Nazi and longtime loyal Captain America, where it is currently recruiting young men who feel left behind by society. This speech sounds eerily familiar.
But that is only the beginning. Your entire culture is under siege. The principle of your country was founded upon lost in the name of tolerance. Your religion, your beliefs, your sense of community, all tossed aside like trash. And you cannot even speak out of it, lest you be called bigot.
If you aren't familiar with it, and I hope you aren't, these are some of the talking points often employed by white nationalists to recruit young men.
Foreigners come to our countries and kill our people. You think our leaders will blame them, but no, they blame us who live here. They blame our history, they blame our culture, our opinions, our religion. It's our fault. That is their core assumption, and you see it in all they say.
The most memorable part of this issue is the final splash page.
Hail Hydra.
This image was such a powerful moment that the trade paperback collecting these comics ignored the comic covers available and instead used this, which is pretty uncommon. Before moving on in the narrative, we have to deal with the big question that plagues this moment. Has Marvel just turned the Nazi punching Captain America into a Nazi himself? This answer isn't going to be a popular one, but hear me out. It doesn't matter if he's a Nazi. What Rogers, Hydra, and the Red Skull all represent in this story is not allegiance to a specific regime or political party, but a grotesque political ideology, and it's fascism. World War II wasn't just a fight against the Nazis, it was a fight against fascist Italy and Imperial Japan. And while these powers had some stark differences between them, all had elements of or full-blown fascism at their core. This is a far more important lens to view this Steve Rogers through than whether or not he felt bad about punching Hitler in the face. The story's take on fascism is more troubling than the obvious threat of a Nazi invasion. It's about a deeper fascism that can manifest itself through uniquely American symbols. Although you could still call it Nazi-esque or an ally of Nazis or whatever affiliation you would like, it ultimately doesn't matter. Fascism doesn't always take the unique face what we see in our history books. And part of what I really appreciated in this comic is that it delves deeper into what exactly American fascism might look like. And if you want to be pedantic, Hydra predates the Nazi Party and were depicted in the this story as trying to manipulate the Nazis to their own end before being usurped by the Red Skull. Rogers isn't part of that branch of Hydra, so he wouldn't really be a Nazi. He's a loyalist to the original Hydra. While this isn't exactly the same Captain America we've been reading about for 70 years, it is one who has an interesting dichotomy at its core. What makes this dichotomy especially interesting is how relevant it is to the current day. We live in the age of crypto-fascists, where people like Richard Spencer will ostensibly stand for principles such as free speech, all the while admitting to using it cynically to further his agenda with no real belief in principle at all.
Are we for free speech? No, of course not. But we have to use this platform. So we're being radically honest here. Yes, radically pragmatic.
But why does fascist Steve Rogers a thing? We find out it was the creation of the Red Skull. Remember those cosmic cube shards, the ones that were used to rid the supervillain prison in Standoff? One of them gained consciousness and became a little girl named Coke. The Red Skull used his power of persuasion on Coke and convinced her to rewrite Rogers' history as his history began.
So it was that Hydra, the greatest terrorist organization the world has ever known, discovered its spectacle.
Tell it again. Tell it again. Please.
And now Steve Rogers bows before the Red Skull as his willing subordinate. Or so it seems. Now, while all of these events were happening in the Build Secret Empire, another Marvel event happened at the same time. Like I was saying earlier, Marvel has gone a bit overboard with these events. Civil War II is the sequel to the popular Civil War event comic from 2006, which I mentioned a little earlier. In Civil War II, the plot involves an Inhuman who can see into the future, leading to some Minority Report style pre-crime busting controversy. Iron Man and Captain Marvel leading each side. Inhumans, by the way, are humans aliens have tampered with that now have powers. It's a whole thing. They're basically a metaphor for marginalized people, much like the mutants in the X-Men series. Civil War II has very little to do with Secret Empire, aside from these two plot points. Steve Rogers, who is, remember, secretly still a fascist, uses some subtle nudging to push Iron Man and Captain Marvel against one another, as the superhero community fracturing is a part of his grand scheme to take over America. Also, that Inhuman who can see into the future, this is one of his predictions. That's Spider-Man Miles Morales, known from the excellent movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and that's Steve Rogers' body next to him. We'll get some closure for that in Secret Empire. And Hawkeye murders the Hulk in the special era. That Hulk death is going to matter in the next story a little. As Civil War II closes, Steve Rogers has a lengthy monologue where more of his thoughts are shared. We get a slightly different fascist vision for America than the one Red Skull offers.
They were afraid one of the children's classmates suddenly developed the ability to scream anyone around them with a look. But they got angry when you called them hysterical bigots for sending a threat to their safety. They felt afraid when the neighbor they knew and trusted revealed them loved their country and communities. They now pledged allegiance to an alien race, a race with a history of brutal violence against humanity. But they got angry when you called them intolerant for not wanting to sleep next to them.
A fear of the other, being disregarded by the elite, and the vision of a world ruled by strength. As the Captain's America headed into Secret Empire, the pieces of Rogers' plan come into place. An alien invasion by the Chitauri, the giant monsters first seen in the Avengers movie, is manufactured by the Red Skull only to reveal that he has captured their queen, triggering this mob of alien invaders to launch a massive invasion towards the planet. The answer presented to this invasion is a giant force field around the Earth, a space wall, if you will. Rogers gets control of this shield when, on the strength of his credibility, he has the Whisperer, revealed to be perennial sidekick Rick Jones, secretly hack the system and hand it over. For those who don't know, Rick Jones is a former sidekick of Captain America. He's also been sidekick to Hulk. He's been Captain Marvel. He's done a lot of stuff, but now he's a hacker for some reason. Another important person in Steve Rogers' life, Sharon Carter, his co-worker at S.H.I.E.L.D. and romantic interest, graciously steps aside to give Rogers control of S.H.I.E.L.D. as its new director, with Maria Hill having gotten the axe for the whole Cosmic Cube supervillain prison debacle as he can stand off. Steve Rogers is appointed head of S.H.I.E.L.D. as its new director. Coinciding with that role being granted special privileges that would give the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. control of all American military and law enforcement agencies in the event of an emergency. Someone in that role would have to be trusted, and what man is more trusted in America than Captain America himself? Lisa Sinclair, the woman who ushered young Steve Rogers into the clutches of Hydra, has managed to stay young using mystic arts, and she's assembled a Hydra council to act as Rogers' generals. She also stands as something of a mother figure for Rogers, often guiding him toward the fascist ends of Hydra whenever his conscience ends up. Hydra also seizes control of Sokovia, a small country that operates as a test run of sorts for Hydra's plans to see if the population can be induced to follow the fascist rule. And Rogers eventually betrays the Red Skull.
I'm loyal to nothing, Skull, except the dream.
The irony is incredibly rich in Red Skull's death. What is manufactured fascist Steve Rogers? Even though Rogers is aware of this meddling through the power of coding, Rogers still holds on to the dream of the fascist world order so tightly that he would sooner deny the reality around him than give up on that idea. In Steve Rogers' mind, in the past Red Skull was created for him, it isn't him who's been tampered with, but rather the rest of reality. In his past, the Allies lost World War II, but when they grabbed a hold of the cosmic cube, they rewrote reality. Rogers believes he comes from the true world where the Axis powers won World War II, and he's assuming to restore that world. And if he can't get a hold of the cosmic cube to do it, he'll instead seize control of the world himself and create a new order. What this illustrates so effectively is one of the tools fascists use to recruit people, the myth of the glorious past. Often you'll see fascist groups use the terminology of the West and its rich, storied past with a tradition that this generation is ready to inherit, and offer those who are trying to tear it down or become leeches of its greatness. These glorious pasts are largely mythology. Every civilization has produced numerous wondrous things, from the invention of the written word in Mesopotamia to the invention of paper in China. Civilizational achievements aren't a competition, and these innovations should be the benefit to all people, not just those who can claim birthright to it by virtue of the blood and soil that make up the petty details of their ancestry. The myth of the glorious past, tainted by outsiders, is a functional role to the true believer. In the case of Rogers, it gives him a model to aspire towards, one where his fascist dream is once real, even if that dream was never reality. The final institution to fall is the role of Captain America itself. Sam Wilson is busy in his title with the appearance of the AmeriCops, a private policing force that, to no one's surprise, starts cracking down on minority neighborhoods. Wilson is copied from one to fight for the community he has dedicated so much of his life to as a social worker, now trying to undermine the government he represents on his uniform. Even if, in this case, Rogers also uses his influence in the media to inflame the public with some toxic speakers. One in particular is the subject of an issue I need to spend a few minutes on. The premise for Captain America Sam Wilson number 17 is that a controversial conservative speaker, Mariella Connor, is invited to speak on a university campus. The new Falcon, Joaquin Torres, and fellow superhero resisting the AmeriCops, Rage, show up to investigate. Falcon and Rage have teamed up a few times with Sam Wilson as Captain America at this point. The speaker, Connor, is attacked by a group called the Bombshells, a group of SJW villains who have all the best lines in the comic. I love the SJW villains, not because I endorse the response to violent rhetoric like grenades, but because they're a caricature of the left that's actually funny. It's amazing how a comic that obviously has a left-leaning perspective is so much better at satirizing the left than anything you see coming out of the right. I have seen some criticisms of this comic made in light of the terminology used by activists on the left, and that's a fair point, but that trigger-worthy joke gets me every time. These are kids who clearly learn terminology and don't know how to use them. When these terms are used in their real context, they're less absurd and are actually valuable tools. But the joke here isn't on the terminology so much as it is on the kids who don't actually take the time to learn how to apply. What's more important here is that Wilson, along with Rage and Falcon, are differentiated from the Bombshells. We get some vindication for Rage, a character who frequently pushes back against the AmeriCops and the overpolicing of black neighborhoods. Wilson has a revealing monologue of the experience of seeing Falcon and Rage self the Bombshells.
And the truth is, with the AmeriCops, I hate to admit it, but if you hadn't pushed me hard that night, I might not have gone as far as I did. I might have played it safe. That would have been a mistake. I'm not saying to
to go start fights like that again. The last thing we need right now is more violence. Sometimes it's good to have someone in your ear telling you things you just don't want to listen to. You understand what I'm saying, Elvin? Keep pushing.
Rage is a reminder that you can't stop pushing for positive change, and that another danger of not pushing is that sometimes progress can move backwards. Rage and Duncan are the kids of this story that represent why we keep struggling for positive change, and the bombshells are a few random outliers that don't mean the kids aren't all right. And let's remember that most of the people in that audience were bullied at the speaker, so the only violence was coming from 3 people who ended up getting stopped by the good kids. This comic also has a very somber ending where all the progress it feels like was made is wiped away in an instant when Rage is wrongfully arrested after trying to stop a robbery. The scene that follows echoes an earlier exchange where Steve Rogers, in his non-fascist days, has to speak to a police officer to get Falcon released from prison after he was wrongly arrested. But a black Captain America doesn't quite have the same effect. The story ends in a depressingly realistic fashion. Even when Wilson finds footage that clears Rage, it's considered inadmissible to the court because it was recorded surreptitiously. Rage, for his part, refused the fancy lawyer friends Sam Wilson can offer, and instead wants to serve as an example of how the criminal justice system treats young black men. Even with the help of Wilson tracking down the real criminals to make them confess, it doesn't change the inevitable conclusion. Rage is going to jail. While locked up in a private prison for supervillains, Rage, the superhero, is targeted. He's viciously beaten and left for dead. This leads to powerful backlash in the community, and we can see a lot of people who stand up and march and protest what happened to Rage. Sam Wilson is so disillusioned that he drops the mantle of Captain America, giving one last speech to the people before putting down the shield and riding off into the sunset. And with that, the final institution, the role of Captain America itself, crumbles. And we now see Steve Rogers and his fascist vision of America take center stage. There are dozens of Secret Empire comics that are part of this event, each with their own creative teams and major peripheral and sometimes essential plot points. These, for the sake of time, I'll only be mentioning in passing in my wrap-up near the end. If you've been watching this very long video thinking, when can I take a break? It's right here, right now. Because once the Secret Empire train starts moving, getting out is going to be a bit of a trick. Let's start with the first comic book issue of this story. You, as a normal person, might assume that the Secret Empire comic book series starts with issue number 1 and ends with the final issue number 10. But you'd be wrong. This series started with issue 0 and ended with issue Omega. There was also a free comic book day comic that went with this, and included in the hardcover collection is Captain America number 25. I'll also be talking about the Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers Captain America titles a little bit more as well, since all these comics are written by the event's author, Nick Spencer. This event also owes a debt to the many talented artists who gave it life. This is one of those rare ensembles where there isn't a weakling in the bunch, and everyone can be fantastic about it. Our first stop on the plot train is issue number 0. Things are going from bad to terrible. The Chitauri invasion is heating up, supervillains are attacking New York, and Sokovia is under siege by Hydra. This is represented most importantly by the new Quasar being defeated in the battle with the Chitauri. Quasar being the overwhelming powerhouse among the heroes fighting in space. All of these problems, of course, were created by the man now running S.H.I.E.L.D., Steve Rogers. As soon as the US government invests the special powers that grant the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. complete authority over the military, Rogers flips a switch and suddenly all the dangers go away. And in that moment, a new order is ushered in Marvel versus America. Space S.H.I.E.L.D. goes up, locking up the Chitauri, and the most powerful heroes.
Okay, that's. I think this is a good time to wrap up this stream. Let me see what happened in chat though.
As the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. is within his rights to take control of the country, and the mask falls off. And the first person to see it is Steve Rogers' longtime romantic interest, Shelby Carter. What Steve did here is a classic move in the fascist playbook. Being a person in the Marvel Universe has got to be scary as hell, with alien invasions and supervillain attacks on a regular basis. And Steve took advantage of that fear.
Oh, this is a lot to catch up on.
Created the scenario he needed to be given all the power he wanted. This isn't just the story of a supervillain thinking of about the broken system of America that led these supervillains to take over. As an analogy to the real world, things such as systemic inequality or other genuine fears that linger in the population are presented as solvable by the fascists, quite often through scapegoating
Truck rustler.
or other vulnerable groups. This tactic preys on very real fears of the public, warps them, and presents fascism as their savior. This is what Steve Rogers is doing in Army versus America. This comic led into not issue 1, as you might have logically guessed, but instead a free comic with a one-shot, taking place immediately on the heels of this issue. Hydra's forces are headed towards Washington, D.C., and what 3 superheroes remain are on their way to confront Hydra in that moment. This short comic focuses on the superhero community fighting back against the Hydra invasion, only to give into despair as, much to their shock, Steve Rogers is revealed to be the head of Hydra, and he lifts up Thor's hammer, something only the most noble, most worthy of evil can do, according to this check. How is a fascist like Steve Rogers able to do that? Look at something that only the best people can lift. Although the hammer gives Steve power, it's not that strength that makes him day. It's the doubt that clouds the minds of the heroes. Suddenly they aren't so convinced of the righteousness of their own cause, and it's that little bit of doubt that costs. As a believer in doubt, there's an important distinction to make here. Doubt may be something that's healthy in moments of self-reflection. Question your own biases and whether or not your activism or superheroing upholds systems of oppression. But in the face of fascism, there is little room for doubt. Someone lifting the righteousness shouldn't be a cause of
Oh no, it's all right. It's good if people wanna chat. I'm just glad that you found a place to make friends. Honestly, but yeah, I don't know. I got caught up enough. Looks like some various dramas with an ex who is less than honest. So yeah, it is about 2 according to my watch. I know it says 2:05, but I set this one ahead a bit, so just so like when I'm in a hurry to get my shit together and get out and do things for the day, I am I'm less likely to end up late for the bus or similar, right? So but yeah, I have cats to feed, I have myself to feed. Apparently I forgot to eat enough times this last week that I dropped 5 pounds in about a week. And that's not... Hi! Yes, did you hear that you're going to be fed soon? I'm sure you did. Oh, I'm so little now. I'm so super now and I'm so super. I'm so super. I'm so super. Me now in the... Yeah. No, I'm gonna hug you. I'm gonna squeeze you. I'm gonna squeeze the little noodle. Little noodle. Little noodle. Am I annoying? Am I annoying? Am I annoying? So are you. Boop. Okay. Right. Followed quite a few more. Right. He is like the thing with cats is that like you can't really train them the same way you train dogs, but I've noticed that like being annoying right back, at least it is somewhat helpful with some cats, right? Somewhat. I said somewhat. All right. I'm so super. I'm so super. I'm so super. I'm... Kitty. Oh, yes, a kitty. Kitty. Gotham. I'm so super, Gotham.
I'm so super, Catherine.
Urged on by Elisa, he decides he needs to make sure straight. He has his former friend, Rick Jones, executed, and then he has
Catherine,
warships.
I'm so super. I'm so super. Super or gloch.
Right in the ball, we find out he's after evil. This ends with
Usually just saying I'm so super at him at this point, which, you know, is Welsh. It means supper time, right? It means supper time. Usually that is enough
To get him off my face. Get him off my face. Into the kitchen. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yes.
But no, he knows there's still people on the little tiny computer that's in my pocket. I swear, on my life, I will be a crazy cat. Oh yeah. All right. So I apparently have to cut the stream, or this little nutcase. No. I'm so super. Seriously? Spanking's over super. All right. I gotta cut this, or he's going to keep demanding everybody's attention rather than go get fed. Into Phoebe just I need to get Phoebe on camera some more because she's so pudgy. She's so pudgy. She's such a pudgy little lady. But yeah, like Phoebe got down from the bed and walked into the kitchen, and she is waiting for super o'clock. All right. Oh, thanks so much, Raven. And yes,
Even with kitties. Kitties. Gaffin.
look at this. I don't know why he loves this. He's not the first cat of mine who loves it, but he does. But all right, bats and kisses, and as always, take care of yourselves, wear your sunscreen, and have exactly the kind of day you all deserve. All right, take care. Bye-bye.